Okay, we will go ahead and start the meeting, call the meeting to order. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Morrison, if you can do us the honor.
Be my pleasure. Please stand and join me in the pledge. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance
Wonderful. Thank you for that. We will go ahead for the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Let's go ahead and move quickly to 2.1. A resolution in recognition of all SBCUSD employees. If I can have Ms. Rogers read this.
2.1 Resolution of Recognition of all San Bernardino City Unified School District employees. Whereas the San Bernardino City Unified School District recognizes the professional dedication of its nearly 10,000 certificated and classified employees, and whereas the district commends all employees for their unparalleled contribution to the lives of students as mentors and as examples of character who are indispensable to the mission of the district. And whereas it is timely and appropriate to recognize the extraordinary endeavors of employees like interpreters and translators whose work is acknowledged on September 30th, 2019, custodial staff whose hard work is celebrated on October 2nd, 2019, school counselors who are honored the week of February 3rd through the 7th, 2020, school librarians who are honored on April 16, 2020, electrical support personnel, including administrative assistants and secretaries who are honored on April 22nd, 2020, cafeteria workers who are celebrated on May 1st, 2020, and school nurses whose day is May 13th, 2020. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District joins our community in thanking all the certificated and classified employees and honor them for accepting the charge of nurturing and educating our students. Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Let's go to 2.2, East Valley Water District presentation. Dr. Marsden?
Thank you, Madam President. It's just such a pleasure to introduce Mr. John Mura and team. We have Mr. Ron Coates, a board member in the audience, and Carrie from his staff as well. And just grateful for the opportunity I had earlier this week with Dr. Wyatt, Dr. Hill. Dr. Hill's not here tonight, Dr. Wyatt is, but had opportunity to tour the operation at East Valley and just saw some incredible opportunities for the future of the workforce in our city as Mr. Mura and team for East Valley Water District. Mike Gallo. I'm so sorry. It was Mr. Mike Gallo that went, and Dr. Scott Wyatt. Forgive me. That's all right. I remember calling
Scott?
Dr. Wyatt. Forgive me. That's all right. So just had a great opportunity to visit, and you'll hear from Mr. Mura that there's literally across the street from this campus being built a world-class water treatment facility, and the ability to have our young people have access and opportunity to some of these high-paid career opportunities in this partnership, I think is just unprecedented. So, Mr. Mura, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for being here tonight to present to our board and our community basically the vision that you have in mind. And so thank you, and the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Dale. It's really nice to see you. And it is a real honor and privilege to kind of present some things that are going on to make sure that the school district understands some of the opportunities and hopefully create a foundation for future partnerships. So again, I'm really a big believer in the power of partnerships, and I know Dale really embraces and embodies that, and I think we need to kind of pool our resources. East Valley Water District is a water and sewer agency. I report to 5 elected officials. We serve about 102,000 customers, including all the city of Highland, about a third of the city of San Bernardino, and many unincorporated county pockets, including the San Manuel Band of Indian Reservation. We have about 215 miles of sewer pipe and about 300 miles of water mains. We serve about a 30 square mile service area. Our average daily demand for water is just under 17 million gallons a day, and we've got about 30 million gallons of storage. We currently convey, collect, and move about 6 million gallons of sewer on a daily basis, and that's really kind of what we're going to kind of focus on a little bit tonight. I'm going to play a short video.
Sterling Natural Resource Center will provide a place for family and friends and the community to come together.
It will bring all sorts of economic components together.
It will bring independence for our cities, for water resources.
Sterling Natural Resource Center will bring a lot of positive change.
It's helping every age group.
This is kind of an animation of the project. There's two elements to it, the community asset and then also the sewer. So the first section that you're going to see in this video is the actual sewer treatment plant, and hopefully you'll notice the level of architectural design and accommodations for tours and actually being a destination, which mostly sewer treatment plants are, but we're trying to change that mold. So again, this is the administrative office for the sewer treatment plant. Many of you have maybe visited our headquarters facility. We have an architectural brand, and we're going to carry that through this project as well. So now leaving the treatment plant side, on the other side of Del Rosa, the west side is going to be the community center. And again, a passive recreational park for community activities. And again, it's just south of where we're standing today, less than a half a block away. So that's the project. Just a little bit of background on the project. It's a $175 million project. And again, it's bringing a lot of elements that I think are very unique. Typically, sewer treatment plants are located in an area that is very undesirable. It's something that people don't want to be around. They want to get the sewer out of the community as fast as possible, and they want to hide it behind fences and hopefully don't smell it. But really, based on technology and the advancements that's going on, there's opportunities now to design and construct these things in such a way that we're hoping to demonstrate where they can actually become a huge community catalyst for change and improving an area. And again, we're making a huge public investment in the hopes of not only securing our water resources moving forward so this community can thrive, but also creating connectivity to the customers that we have and partnerships, including the school district. So right now what happens is we collect that sewer. It's right now going to the city of San Bernardino, and it's being treated and put in the Santa Ana River, and it goes downstream and ultimately ends up in the ocean. What we're doing is building this complex so we can divert those flows, put it through an MBR technology that creates no noise, no smell, no aesthetic concerns, and then surrounded by a beautiful park setting and some community amenities and really make it a destination. Our anticipation is that people are going to have weddings and all kinds of activities there, and I suspect that many of you in this room will be spending some fantastic evenings in a setting that's going to be just completely unique to the city of San Bernardino or in our region. All the water that we'll go ahead and purify will be then going into the groundwater basin right here in this region and benefit not only East Valley Water District, but over the 1 million people that depend on that groundwater basin. So it really is a win-win for everybody. A little bit of, again, the site layout. You can see just to the north is the school complex. That piece of dirt is where your theater complex is now. We didn't have that in there. But on the east side is where the business is going to be taking place, and on the west side is where all the fun's going to be happening. We're currently under construction. You can probably see a big blue fence around it. I'm more than happy to take anybody here to go ahead and look on the site. We're actively under construction. We anticipate being completed in November of 2021. So what are the community benefits? Not only are we getting the groundwater replenishment, most people don't realize that about 80% of the water supply in Southern California, especially in this region, comes out of the groundwater. And as we don't have rain or we don't have snow, we overproduce the groundwater basin, and it really becomes a concern, which is the situation all of us have been in over the last 8 years of drought. So doing projects that get water back into the basin for future use is extremely important. We understand that there's some great career opportunities, not only in our industry, but all industries with the pathway programs you've already developed. So we're designing space for educational courses. We also have realized once we build our headquarters that there's a real need for community space in this area. There's not places for people to have birthday parties or have quinceañeras or have weddings or celebrations of life. And really, I think that's the fabric of this community that might need a little of attention so that we can bring people together in a setting they feel safe and welcomed. Again, we want to have a lot of community programs. We've designed into it to be able to have, concerts in the park or movies in the park, farmers market nights, and those kinds of activities that are going to get people out of their houses, talking to their neighbors, and start discussing things that can hopefully create major changes in our area. And again, we're making major investments not only through the site, but also the infrastructure surrounding the site in the hopes that other people will invest in this community and make neighborhood improvements. We're also spending a ton of money and a lot of attention into endangered species and habitat concerns. Obviously, there's a balance, and we are being very, very responsible, and we take that charge extremely seriously. But with that, we have some challenges, and one of the challenges in East Valley Water District's kind of strategic plan is about 45% of my employees are eligible for retirement with a pension in the next 5 years. Like any organization, the key to our success is having the best and the brightest talent under our roof so that we can continue to exceed people's expectations. And as the baby boomers and the Generation Xers are exiting the workforce, we have this gray tsunami that everybody's been talking about that we need to address. And we're not just talking about it, we're going to do something about it. We're also very familiar with the demographics in this area. We've spent a lot of time and attention in understanding who we're impacting and the opportunities to improve things. And we realize that this is a highly, severely disadvantaged community, and the schools in your service area have a high degree of turnover. And then the bridge is the East Valley Water District and other water agencies in the surrounding area are very great, good paying jobs. They're very technical. They do require some education and some certification, but we've got a fantastic work environment. We pay people very handsomely with the pension, with insurance, with all the benefits, including education reimbursements. So we really think that there's an opportunity to, take the lemonade and turn the lemons and turn it into lemonade. So building a quality workforce is something that we're really, really dedicated to. We have entry-level positions that require only a high school education and a state certification. It's a great career field where people actually can do something that means something, giving back to their community. Again, we're very socially conscious, environmentally, we're environmental stewards, and we've done all the demographics and the studies of what's really going on in society and what the future workforce expects in their jobs. And they want to have meaning in their jobs, and they want to feel like they're giving something back to the community and have a purpose, and we do that every single day. Again, we have major career enhancements. We start people at the low levels, and we constantly are moving people up. I'm a product of that. I started at the lowest level you could possibly be in our career field, and here I am, the CEO. I paid through my education, went to school, while I was working, and I got paid to do it. So I was earning what I was learning, and I actually had on-the-job experience that I went ahead and was able to leverage into a fantastic career. And I'm not, unique, and I'm not super special. Those opportunities are open to everybody. We just need to make them understand that they're out there. Again, all you really need for many of our jobs is a state certification. And again, we have excellent benefit package, including health plans, retirement, tuition reimbursement, and we pay bonuses for education as you achieve it moving up the ladder. So partnering for student success, you have a template for career pathways. We would like to explore the opportunities, maybe developing one with you. We have the opportunity right across the street and with all of our facilities really close to create hands-on learning opportunities, internships, teacher externships, so you have a better understanding of some of the skills and some of the curriculum that's required to be successful. And then ultimately, we should be able to create a program where high school kids could graduate with these state certifications required to get into our field. I think I'm a big believer in, success isn't something that happens overnight. It's really the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. And I think that, again, that's what we're trying to demonstrate. And I think there's a lot of opportunities collaboratively working with you folks to do some amazing things. And with that, I tried to cover a very complex and a very big project in a short amount of time, and I'm happy to answer any questions any of you may have.
All right, I appreciate you coming down to share what you're doing. I do have several questions, and with that, but I do want to give some time to our board members first. Maybe they might ask those questions as well. Dr. Flores?
Yes, thank you so much. First, I'd like to commend East Water Valley business for coming to us. And secondly, I have two questions. Number one, what do you need from us? And number two, how many positions or how many pathways are we talking?
Well, I think to answer your first question first, I really want to introduce myself, and I want to introduce our organization. Right. Dr. Marsden is willing, and he's going to actually present at our board next week. Right. And we really want to start getting some information sharing going, and we want to start developing some policies and some opportunities. And it's going to take you folks to get on board and support staff in that endeavor. So if it's something you're interested in, it's a door opener tonight. Right. We hope you'll allow us to walk through it, and we can start walking down that path.
You have my vote, because water is so key to the state and to our community. And what's also very commendable is that you want to give back to our community and provide the pathways for better jobs, and also to beautify our community and to work within our community. That's I think if all our businesses did that, it would be tremendous. And you're beginning to start something, so I commend you for that. And so I'm curious as to what types of positions are there possible.
Well, I think to start with, we have entry-level positions. You can start on the crew where you're working on water lines. You can also start in the treatment plants, both the water side and the sewer side, where they're very technical. And again, they only require high school education and certifications. And those are really our gateway job openers. Right. But what's really exciting, and I think the people are blown away by when they do a tour with us, is we've got several fields under our building. I mean, I'm a guy that's got a business background and a public administration master's, but we've got engineers, we've got IT professionals, we've got public relations people, we've got finance people, we've got customer service professionals, we've got all these different career paths under one umbrella, which is the water agency.
See, I would like us to be able to show our kids where they could go, in terms of not just the entry level, but throughout the whole, their whole life career, if they're going to career pathway. That would be my interest for sure in terms of that. But I do know that water is real important, and so thank you so much. Thank you.
And again, I'm an example of that. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I was lucky enough to get a job that provided me some opportunities and some insight into what there is out there for me, and we want to provide that to our youth here in this community.
Just to tell Dr. Marsden, I would want our kids to know all the career pathway aspects, even in terms of going to Cal State, community college. Everybody has to start at the beginning, but we do have also graduates, or our kids that are already at Cal State and community college, that they could also come back and be interns or also participate. Those that are interested in business, like Mike, all of those engineers, engineering, etc. But make them visible. Make all of those positions visible, and the career pathways and how they can attain. And and I don't know. You said you have the data for people retiring and in the positions. I'm sure you have all of that.
We
and
do.
what you're going to need. Correct.
But unfortunately, we can't hire people off the street for a lot of them, so they need to come in the pipeline and
That's
get
what
them
I
through
mean.
the pipeline.
Yeah, but I mean that's what
Yeah.
I mean. I hope that we could do that.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Y, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, Madam President, and thank you again. An incredible presentation. I've seen your facility out on the east end off of 5th Street, which is, or Green Spot, I think it is. Beautiful facility. So I know our area and this region definitely could use a nice shot in the arm with new architecture and buildings and a wonderful park, obviously. My only question is, you were talking about 45% of your current, workforce will be eligible for retirement next 5 years, and that these jobs require state certifications. About how long is the schooling for some of those certification programs? Like, from 6 months to 3 years, or where's that at for our kids to need to know?
Well, I think that's the opportunity. If we can work with high school educators and ensure that they understand if they're interested in this field, here's the things that they need to kind of really focus on. It's really the STEM program, honestly. It's big on math, percentages and those kinds of things, which is all things that you guys do every single day. You typically can go ahead and go through the process and get your entry-level certification between 6 and 9 months. And again, if we can really inspire some of these kids in 9th grade when they have an idea, then hopefully we can develop a program around that. So by the time they get through, high school in those 4 years, they've already got it in the back pocket. And again, you mentioned how many jobs are available at East Valley Water District. It's industry-wide, and these state certifications are portable and transferable, and there's a ton of jobs in our field all across the state of California, and a lot of opportunities. And again, you might start off on a pipeline crew or in a treatment plant, but you can certainly end up doing anything you wanted to do as you start to mature and realize maybe where your true talents are. And we support that, and we really, I think, benefit from that internal circulation and that upward mobility that we've developed in our organization, because they have a background, they have an understanding of public service and what it takes to be dedicated to a community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So again, I think the opportunity is endless. And in terms of the education and certification objectives, they're not that hard to reach. We just need to commit to it.
That's fantastic. And then my last question is, where are we at right now? And Dr. Marsden might be able to help as well with this, with vertical articulation with our local college, Valley, and Cal State San Bernardino. Are we talking to them as well?
Yeah, so actually, Diana Rodriguez was going to be here tonight. She's not able to be here tonight. I knew she was trying to catch a plane on her way back, and she was doing a leadership presentation. And she planned to be here tonight to demonstrate that we have been in this dialogue. Because if the board's in agreement, where we would start is at this school in a classroom after school, Valley College. Have it available for any kids that have that interest district-wide, and have a starting place. And it would be primarily done through our relationship that exists currently with Valley College. So this is really, as Mr. Mira described, the knock on the door, the opening the door, the introduction, and so the board can have a sense of what action do we or don't we want to take. This is really involving you from the very beginning in terms of where we go with it. So that's why we're here tonight.
Okay. And then do we have any other board members? Ms. Rogers?
Yes. So in addition to Dr. Wyatt's question, on the certifications, I know you said in high school, right? Are you saying that's as soon as they can start a certification? And are there any barriers that would prevent them to be involved in getting the certification?
No.
No. Okay. And then
There's no minimum, when you can take it. You have to have a high school education, obviously. I think as you move up, the entry level ones, all you need is, again, be able to really, the math is always a struggle for the kids.
You said have the high school education. So we would start the training prior, or they have to have the already graduated and then they start that process?
Again, we're here tonight to start dialoguing with you. You guys are the education expert and I'm the employment expert.
I
think
don't know
we
if they're
can get it
experts
together.
in water, though.
Yeah, well, I really think if we can design a curriculum and create a pathway to give the kids the education they're going to need to be successful, to take the test prior to graduating high school,
For
that would be the
And
ultimate
so
goal.
how many employees do you anticipate hiring? in the local?
Right now we
area?
have 70 employees, and honestly, not all of them are going to retire when they're eligible to retire.
Right.
But I think industry-wide, there is a huge need for these types of jobs. Unfortunately, there's just people aren't, for whatever reason, going into the field, and it's just an amazing field. So with the relationships that we have in the industry with our trade groups, I think the word's going to get out really, really quick that there's this pipeline and there's this population
means
of educated
opportunities
people.
in other areas
Correct.
as well beyond right here.
Yes, the whole across the state and across the country, honestly. But
Okay.
California is the center of the universe when it comes to urban water.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Tillman, and he did speak, I don't know if you were able to hear over online, but this is regarding sewer treatment plant.
Well, I know it's
Okay, just making sure.
Thank you. I really would love to see you guys get involved in our Generation Go. We're doing it with the county of San Bernardino, where we allow high school students to intern at like county offices, and they will be able to intern at your organization. I love it because I started the county 39 years ago as a student aide, and I worked for flood control hydrology. I started in the summer before my senior year, but I had no idea what flood control was and hydrology was and water resources. But while I was introduced to all those different engineering positions and technical positions, and was able to see how the education I got from high school applied. But I had no clue that all those jobs and careers existed just right around me. In this case, it'd be across the street from the school. So it'd be perfect for some of our students that the counselors can look at their completed classwork and say, you know what, you have the skill set. You said if math is one of their strong points, it'd be easy to see students who are doing great in math, tap them on the shoulder and say, this might be an opportunity for you. But it'll be a win-win because you'll get highly qualified students introduced and exposed to that profession. So I think it'd be great. It's established already. We pay them I don't know how much we pay them out, $13, $14 an hour. I had 4 in my department this year, and they were just wonderful. So I would encourage you to work with us on that because it exists already. And Dr. Marsden took the lead on it with the county, so he'd be perfect to work with you.
I love it.
Generation Go.
Remember, the minimum it will be eventually $15 an hour, so I'm hoping that they don't necessarily start at $13 an hour for that career entry. I have a few questions regarding how, I know it's already been approved, it's already planned, the stages of for it being built is already on board. My concern was how were they able to, first of all, which organization or did you go through the county? How was it approved to have it placed right here? Because there are community members here, and when you look at sewage plants, unfortunately, it does have a negative stigma, like you mentioned as well. And I'm curious to see, first of all, who approved it, and then second of all, which other comparison of a plant that you will have that's similar to this, that is in other places that we can compare by visiting and just observing the smell.
So the first question is the approval process. We had to go through extremely stringent environmental review. We not only did the state, but we also did the NEPA, the federal. It included all kinds of workshops where every single one of your neighbors and the people around here were invited, and many of them showed up.
The community members
Yes,
here in the neighborhood?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We actually had people knocking on doors for several months, and we continue to do that and have dialogue. We have a community group that we met with for a long time. And again, all the hoops and bells and whistles that anybody has to do to approve a project. It was extremely complex because we're dealing with federal species issues. That was probably the biggest thing. And then some lawsuits with the city of San Bernardino. So we went up and down the chain and we got looked at the regional board, the Water Quality Control Board, AQMD, every single regulatory agency you could think of, and about 10 more you've never heard of, have been involved in this project. We've been working on it for over 4 years. So we're through all the approvals and all the administrative efforts, and now we're in full-blown construction, and we intend, again, get it done in November. But we have been dialoguing heavily with the people that go to the school in this neighborhood.
All right, and then why San Bernardino and why here? Compared to, because you have one in Redland, you have one in Highland. I'm curious the locations.
We don't have one now. We have a water treatment facility.
Also, there's no sewage treatment in Highland?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
And the reason
But
here
it's
is
placed
because it flows downhill. So the way the elevations work, it's north to south, east to west, and this is the lowest site in our service area to be able to do it from an engineering perspective.
Okay.
And we had available land.
Yeah. Like I said, and one of the questions was, what are the comparison locations that you have, or something that you said it was the technology that you're currently working with, it eliminates all of the smells. So I'm wondering which location is.
Well, I don't think
comparison to
there's a
that.
location in the United States that's going to have all the elements that we're going to have, but from a technology standpoint, in terms of confidence of the odor control and those kinds of things, the city of Anaheim, there's treatment plants like this. We're using MBR technology all over the West Coast. Anaheim has a demonstration plant where they actually have it right next to City Hall in the middle of their in their park in the downtown Civic Center area. Over the years, we've taken busloads of our constituents and your constituents to Anaheim to demonstrate to them that you walk right by it, you would never know it was a sewer treatment plant. It's very beautifully, landscaped. Architecture is great. No noise, no smell. And again, it really is reusing these resources over and over again in a positive way. So I can certainly hook you up with a tour there so that you can better understand the treatment technology. But I think what we're bringing to the table is the community aspect, the education aspect, the employment aspect, and just the civic activity aspect
Right.
surrounding a sewer treatment plant. And that's not taking place anywhere else.
Like I mentioned, it's already been approved, so it's not like we can say don't build here. Unfortunately, it's already been built. What my concern is that how it is in communities like in San Bernardino, that you'll see certain warehouses or certain locations being built within the city without necessarily looking at other neighborhoods. But with the career pathways that we can offer through the school district, the entry level, and I know Mr. Tillman mentioned earlier regarding the entry level pay, what would that look like for those entering with a high school and a certification?
Our employees start off between $45,000 and $55,000 a year.
So that would be entry level.
That's entry level. So
Okay.
minimum wage isn't a factor for us. We're way above that. And you start adding in all the compensation and all the fringe benefits. I mean, we're very, very competitive
So this could be a high school student, 18 years old, having certification and ready to go.
avoiding a bunch of
45,000.
college debt and going right to work, and they can
Okay.
get their own. They can have just a fantastic life right at 18 years old if they put their nose to the grindstone and be dedicated.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that's with my questions. Any other questions? Okay.
So
Thank you,
board,
Professor.
just to be clear, to clarify as well, my next step is I would go to East Valley Water District Board with your consensus and be able to share with them, hey, here's what we do in our pathways, give them an overview of some handouts of that information, video of our pathways, so there's kind of a clarity around Generation Go, around the pathways work that we're doing to demonstrate that, hey, we have already created a lot of success around this kind of trajectory around a linked learning pathway. So that would be my next step. And then from there, if it meets the board's satisfaction, we would shoot for a fall ribbon cutting on a classroom here where basically we're providing the space. Mr. Muir is going to fill it with his team's equipment and things that they need to open that up to students within the district in our community.
Okay. And Dr. Flores, you had a question?
So that would be this fall that we would do that?
Say again? This fall, yeah,
This
that would be the goal, is to have a ribbon
By
cutting
August?
in this fall. Once the school year gets up and started, and Dr. Mitchell's team can help us ensure we have a nice solid alignment through Valley College and all that. We'll put that.
Mr.
in place.
Muir, this board passed a strategic plan that was for career, college and career. So this is right in line with what we're talking about in terms of building up our community as well. And we were very strategic also in doing the seamless articulation with the community colleges and also our four-year institutions in the area. So I think, Dr. Marsden, that I would be in favor of supporting this because it's, and I also share some of the concerns that President Medina also raised in terms of, our community. And I think giving back through our kids and providing opportunities for them to grow and move up the career ladder is very, very key and very important. So thank you so much. Yes. Yep.
Any other comments? If not, thank you for your presentation.
All right,
Thank you for
appreciate your
joining.
time.
Mr. Muir, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move, Inspiration. So Mr. Tillman, are you ready for your inspirational message?
Well, I didn't have an inspirational message provided, but I will say, I was inspired myself by the consent items and some of the projects we have with the different agencies that are just commonplace now, whether it's working with Threads. And I mean, Threads is a nonprofit in the district that has a clothes closet for our students. And they have some students at Akuma that we partner with Akuma to do an after-school program and a weekend summer program. And some students got accepted into a science program, and I think it was San Diego, but they didn't have the proper attire. And I gave them the number to the lady who's at Threads, and the parents and the center contacted them, and they actually got them clothes, outfitted to look professional to go to that event. And those type of things on consent, if you look at the truck and the equipment outside for the drum line, I mean, it looks beautiful, but it was years and years of of work and fighting to get it. And, the raggedy U-Haul and the 1964 Ford Econo truck that they wanted to give them. But, we got to a point where we want it to be. So it takes time, but it works. They have stuff in here for the a bunch of centers and after school programs. The Athletes for Life with Greg Bell. Was a time you had to come and ask us, and we'd have to vote on it. I saw we have the thing for the Black Voice News, where we're sending a bunch of folks to the Underground Railroad. All those things, we take for granted because they're in consent. But all those things, I've been around when it was a big deal. We had to fight and scratch and beg and just to get 2 people, let alone the numbers we're talking about now. And I think it benefits our school district as a whole and the community to do all the types of things that we worked out and benefit not only teachers, parents, students, and the community. So that, to me, all the work we're doing right now is just inspirational. And I guess I would end by saying we're doing the inspirational thing by having this resolution to thank all the employees for the work that they all do here for the district to benefit our students. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. We're going to go ahead and move to 2.3, board discussion regarding the board will consider the following combination classes, pathways, community, heart, personnel. So we will have, this is the time for our ICUC group.
Actually, Madam
No, is
President.
that the one?
Yeah, so just to be clear, the board requested that we allow the board to have a discussion among themselves in response to previous meetings where ICUC has come and expressed questions and concerns about these 3 areas, and the board wanted the opportunity to discuss those things. And so
okay,
this
so
is an opportunity for you as a board
Right,
to discuss
right.
these things among yourselves. And so we have each staff member. Dr. Wiseman can give you a brief summary of combination classes, Dr. Mitchell of our Pathways Continuity, and Dr. Perez of our Heart Personnel. So each of them will provide you just a brief comment or two, and then open it up if you could. The discussion, I would ask you to monitor yourselves so that maybe you spend just a handful of minutes in the discussion on the topic and then decide if you want to elevate a single topic or more topics for further discussion. Then staff could at that time come with a more detailed presentation, because of course, when we talked about this at the last meeting, each member is not prepared to have a full discussion on each topic as a presentation for tonight, but they are prepared to give you an overview and listen to what questions you might raise, direction you might have, and then we can go to task of
Okay,
building a presentation
So I will
based on
change
that.
that a little bit because
Okay.
honestly, this was not what I had planned for. I originally planned, and I'm glad that you brought the 3 topics up. We will have them come and speak, because that was the intention, ICUC. They're going to come and speak. But we will also listen to what the district has with regarding combination classes, pathways, and then so forth. And then we'll have a discussion with that. They have been, so my intention is for them to come up. So who are the ones that were going to come up?
Madam President,
Yes.
just can I preface this by saying, I think the important part about it being agendized is
It's having the discussion.
it's the only way that the board can legally
Right,
discuss.
right.
Because when they come and talk at public
right.
comment, then we have to sanction ourselves and
That's
say,
right.
we can't have this discussion.
Right, and
So-
that's what the point was, is so
Right.
we can have the discussion, but also give them, they were gonna be brief because they've had, they've
no, I
had
agree.
spoken before, but
Yeah.
the whole point was that they were gonna start the conversation. We were then gonna bring it out to the cabinets where they're gonna explain, and then we can ask questions and
And I
comment
think the most important part is the board has the ability to
to do that. Right.
conversate.
All right, thank you, so please join us. That's okay. No.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. So good evening. My name is Ayla Lopez. I'm a youth organizer with Inland Congregations United for Change. As you all know, for the past couple of years, we have been learning about two different issues that affect students here in our district: a need for mental health resources and support in combination classes. Today, we're here to thank you all for all of the support on these two issues and to make recommendations for the 2019-2020 school year. According to the American School Counselor Association, students' unmet mental health needs can be a significant obstacle to student academic, career, and social and emotional development. While our communities here in the San Bernardino City Unified School District are at greater risk for mental health needs, they are also less likely to receive the services that they need. School counselors acknowledge that they may be the only counseling professional available to students and their families, which is why we believe the mental wellness work that is happening here in the district is so important and needs to continue to expand. We would like to thank board members who have met with us and discussed our concerns around this topic. So we would like to thank board member Dr. Flores for your tremendous support on both of these issues since we initially had you come out and participate in our ICUC action back in April. We have seen your dedication in helping us find solutions to our concerns. We would like to thank Board President Medina for all your support and accessibility to our community. And thank you to Board Member Dr. Scott Wyatt for your participation in our action back in April as well, and your support for mental health services. And thank you to Board Member Tillman for your commitment to help to seeing our recommendations around expanding the heart team, expanding the wellness teams, and your support for ensuring fundings for the Mini Miracles Early Childhood Mental Health Program. And now we're going to hear from some of our ICUC parents who will share their work that they have been doing around the combination classes. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Norma Mejía.
Good evening. My name is Norma Mejia.
Me gustaría dar este testimonio de la señora Marisela, ya que ella en este momento no puede asistir.
I would like to give a brief testimony of Mrs. Maricela that she couldn't be here tonight.
Mi nombre es Marisela y soy madre de 3 niños de Serrano Middle School,
My name is Maricela and I am mother of 3 children at Serrano Middle School,
Lancashire Elementary y Cypress Elementary.
Lancashire Elementary and Cypress Elementary as well.
Durante el año escolar 2017-2018,
During the school year 2017-2018,
mi hija Karen estuvo en una clase combo.
my daughter Karen was in a combo class.
Al principio del año, cuando le hablaba a uno para que conozcamos a los maestros,
At the beginning of the year when we were called so that we could meet the teachers,
tanto la maestra como los padres nos sorprendimos al aprender que la clases en la cual iba a estar mi hija iba a ser clases combo.
we were surprised as parents as well as a teacher that the class that my daughter was going to be in was going to be a combo class.
Hasta ese día ni la maestra había sido informada de esto.
Until that day, the teacher was not even informed that she was going to be a teacher of a combo class.
Yo entiendo que no es culpa de los maestros y que también tenemos que abogar por ellos.
I understand that it is not the fault of the teachers, but I know that we have to advocate for them as well.
Yo creo que si el distrito va a seguir con las clases combo,
I believe that if the district is going to continue with the combo classes,
deberían de encontrar la manera de avisarles a los maestros
they should find a way to let the teachers know
lo más pronto posible
as soon as possible
que tendrán clases combo para que ellos tengan suficiente tiempo para prepararse.
that they will be prepared and have enough time to prepare themselves that they're going to be have a combo class.
Como padres de familia queremos ver cambios
As parents in our community, we want to see changes
que vayan a ayudar a nuestros hijos y a maestros.
that are going to help our children and our teachers.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pasen. El señor todavía van a tener, ocupan ayuda.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Vargas
Good evening. My name is Maria Vargas.
y soy un organizador de padres de ICUC aquí en San
And I
Bernardino.
am an organizer of ICUC here in San Bernardino.
Durante los últimos 2 años hemos estado escuchando a los estudiantes
During the last 2 years, we have been listening to the students,
padres y maestros
parents
en,
and teachers
en nuestro distrito
in our district,
y hemos aprendido mucho acerca de las clases combinadas.
and we have learned a lot about combination classes.
También hemos tenido conversaciones recientes con el personal del distrito durante las cuales
And we have also had conversations with district personnel in which we have
aprendido mucho más sobre este tema.
we have learned a lot more about this issue.
La mayor preocupación que tenemos cuando se trata de clases combinadas en nuestro distrito
Our biggest worry that we have when it comes to combination classes in our district
es que no existen pautas consistentes para lo siguiente.
is that there aren't certain points that are needed for the what I'm going to be talking about next.
Criterios utilizados para decir a qué maestros se les asignan una clase combinada.
Criteria in which teachers are identified that are going to be teaching these combination classes.
Hemos escuchado casos de los que se asignan un maestro con mucha experiencia.
We have heard cases in which the teacher with a lot of experience has been assigned to one,
Y otros donde se asigna maestros en su primer año.
and others in which first-year teachers are assigned to these combo classes.
Y el apoyo y desarrollo profesional dado a los maestros a los que se les asignan una clase combinada.
Also, the professional development that is given to those teachers that are assigned a combination class.
Criterios para colocar o sacar un estudiante en una clase combinada y finalmente
The criteria in which is taking place to put a student in or take a student out of a combination class. And finally,
informar a los padres cuando se coloca a su hijo en una clase combinada
inform the parents of whose child is going to be placed in a combination class.
Sabemos de muchos casos en los que los padres no son informados hasta después de que el año escolar ya había comenzado.
We know of many cases in which parents are not informed until the school year has already began that their child has been placed in a combination class.
Esto no está escrito aquí, pero es algo de mi testimonio. Mi hijo estuvo en el 5º grado
My son was in 5th grade
en una clase combinada.
in a combination class.
Desde el momento que él comenzó su año escolar,
From the moment that he began his school year,
comenzó a bajar sus grados.
his grades started to drop.
Yo tomé la decisión de cambiarlo de escuela.
I took the decision to change schools.
Cuando él llegó a esta escuela, llegó con sus grados muy bajos.
When he arrived to this new school, his grades were very low.
Cuando tuve la primera conferencia con su maestra,
When I had the first parent-teacher conference with his teacher,
su maestra me enseñó cómo llegó con sus grados.
the teacher showed me how low he was when he arrived to her class.
Y en menos de 3 semanas él estaba subiendo
And
sus
in less
grados.
than 3 weeks, his grades started to increase.
Él se graduó de esta escuela y se fue a Rodríguez.
He finished the school and he went to Rodriguez.
Y de Rodríguez salió con un GPA bastante bueno.
And from Rodriguez, he was able to exit with a really good GPA.
Yo pienso que si él se haya quedado en las clases combos,
I believe that if he would have stayed in those combo classes,
a lo mejor no haya llegado a Rodríguez o a tener un buen grado
maybe
en
he
el,
wouldn't have gotten to go to Rodriguez or had such a good GPA.
So, para mí, en mi opinión, sí es importante que tengan una sola clase en las clases,
So
que no haya
in my
clases
opinion,
combos.
I believe that they should be in one grade and not a combo class.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Good evening. My name is Keisha McGee, and I'm a parent organizer with ICUC. I organize out of Emerton Elementary School in Cesar Chavez, and I also have kids in the district. The lack of guidance and support from the district prohibits from having faith in the ability of all students and combination classes to perform at the level necessary to obtain academic success. This is why we are here with the following recommendations. 1, professional development for teachers who are assigned combo classes. 2, move forward with creating a combination class committee to create the above mentioned necessary guidelines and support systems for the teachers who are assigned combination classes. And 3, create a pilot program of 20 instructional aides at $35,000 each, whom will be assigned to assist teachers with the combination classes. After the first year of this pilot program, districts should evaluate the program comparing combination classes that were assigned the instructional aides versus those that were not. The total budget allocated, we are asking for the 2019-2020 would be the allocation for the 20 instructional aides, and that's totaling $7,000. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Now we will have, I'm not sure who you want to start off with, is if Keenan
Madam
Mitchell,
President.
Dr. Keenan Mitchell. Oh, yes.
Uh,
Mr. Tillman, go ahead.
You know, I when I met with some of the folks from ICUC earlier in the week, but I really think we need to start with the data. So I think we need to see the results. And we can have results that show all the classes and the results from the students, including combo classes. Then it'll become obvious if there is an issue. For instance, if you said that here's your 4th and 5th graders out of regular standard 4th and 5th grade class, non-combo classes, and you compare them to 4th and 5th graders from combination classes, if you realize that they perform at the same level, if you realize that one group performs higher than the other, that would be the starting point. Right now, we're talking about anecdotal information and what people feel, right? But I think we have to start with the facts, and the district can provide that information. So maybe the next step, if they don't have it tonight, I think the very first step before we do anything is to make sure we look at the data and analyze it to determine if there really is an issue.
Right.
I even asked my own daughter who has taught combo classes and is a teacher, and you know, I didn't tell her it was for a board meeting, but her response was, all classes are combo classes because no kids are at the same level in your class. You have students at different levels, regardless whether it's a combo class or not. The reality of it is all your students are not at the same level.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to use that to dismiss the concerns that the parents have, but I do think we need to start by looking at the data to find out the results. And we have that. And they can go back and show us years of data that will show regular classes and combo class and the results, but we have to start there with the actual data.
Right, and so then the second part of the conversation today was to ask them questions as well, so that way they can prepare, and some of them have some knowledge, they're somewhat prepared for this as well. So there's two things. Do I go down the line and have you answer questions now, or do you want to wait after we hear from the cabinet?
Well, I think it'd be great to hear what questions you have on your mind, and then
Okay, then so we can go down.
after you're done maybe sharing your questions, then they can write those down, then they can respond basically as much as we're prepared now, or they can respond. We can bring this back at another time.
All right, and then Mr. Gallo, do you have any questions?
Well, first question is, do we have any data to be shared tonight? No. Yes, no.
Very limited data tonight, but there is some information
that's performance data.
Yeah, performance data.
I don't mean what the
understood. So kind of the same request Mr. Tillman made.
Right. I think that's
starting
that's
with
a
the
great way to start, just
data-driven
to
decision
know what
making.
the issues are. I think the elements and recommendations made for professional development for combination class teachers is an excellent one. I think there probably is some specialty training that might be required for, that large of perhaps a disparity in, learning levels, I guess, in combination classes. I think that's great. But I'd like to really see what the data shows before we actually, invest in providing, support, teachers, and I think these are priced at. I'd like to also know about the pricing, because I think we've had a discussion about this, at least information provided, that was more in line with like some interns, and whether or not they could actually perform in that job classification was an issue. And I'd like to understand that.
Great, thank you.
that
So I've got your
criteria as
question,
well.
the team's got your question, and we have some of the information to share back out in a moment. Thank you, Mr. Gallo.
Ms. Rogers? Ms. Rogers?
In addition to that, because I remember an earlier part of a year or so ago, Mike and I met with ICUC about this, and what we did end up determining too is exactly what you said, Mr. Tillman, is that there's a bigger problem because we're combo across the way, but that is not, that's not an excuse. That's an ongoing work that we need to do. But what I'd also like to make sure, and as I encourage the parents, number one, whenever your student is not performing, whether it's in a combo class or not, you have the right to remove your student. So that has to resonate, number one, because we have to protect the student first, and then we'll go and double back and see what we need to do. But they got to get out. So I applaud that parent for what she did, because I would have done the same thing. I'm not going to wait until it's too late and then blame it on whomever. But secondly, I really think we need to get a history of why combo classes exist. How do we determine, is it a school site, the number of enrollment? And I've heard that before, that's part of it, but we need to understand, because I don't think they're going to go away, and we just need to be upfront because of the magnitude of students that we have coming in and out of the district. They're created based on numbers. Secondly, what I would be concerned with is that now a teacher not knowing that they're going to be over a combo class is an issue, and the issue being raised about it being a first-year teacher, whether they have the skill set or not. We have been promised that we're going to lead with educational experts that can do the job, and so everybody should be able to do whatever the job is, and then we're going to give them the additional professional development that's needed. But if a teacher is not knowing that they're going to be a teacher in a combo class, then how do you determine when a student is going to be in a combo class? And I think we've talked about that too with you, Dr. Wiseman, about how we make those assessments, and maybe, we're looking at the student's performance going in to the next grades. Those are alarming. As we look at all of those things that are happening throughout the year, that makes the data. Then we're evaluating whether this teacher, just like we should be doing across the board in every classroom, are these teachers meeting the needs and doing what needs to be done? Are we seeing some issues that we need to work on through professional development? So again, I like to see how they come about, why, and be clear with the community that is something that exists, I think, right now that's not going to go away unless we build more spaces, for the majority of the students that we have. But number one, parents have the right to move their student and to interface when they identify there's a problem. We should be in a conversation with the principal, and many of you did come to us as board members, and we have been having this dialogue since over a year ago that I can recall. What Mike and I have said, Dr. Hill and I have said, and said again, this is a problem, but move your student first before it's a bigger problem while we work on the problem. So those are my concerns.
Thank you,
All right,
Ms.
thank
Rogers.
you. And then Dr. Flores?
Well, I have several comments. Number one, the reason we do have combo classes is to save money. Because if we add teachers, then we have to pay another additional teacher. So the rationale for having combo classes is against the students. Number two, I agree with Mr. Tillman and Ms. Rogers and Mr. Gallo about data. But what kind of data? That's the issue. I would like to interview teachers that have taught combo classes. I would like to interview students who have been in combo classes. I would like to interview parents, just like the parents we just had that presented, who had different experiences. And the one parent was very smart to move her child because she saw him going downhill. Another issue 3. They're just not teaching kids at different levels. Teachers have to do 2 curriculums. They have to teach 2 different curriculums. Elementary teachers have to teach 6 or 7 subjects. So that means they would have to prepare for 14 subjects with no additional pay. And I agree with the criteria that they raised. Who is selected to teach combo classes? You know, is it the first-year teacher? If there's a first-year teacher to do that, that's devastating for that teacher. Is it a seasoned worker, a seasoned teacher? Who decides who gets a combo class? If the combo class is, what is it for 5th grade? What, 34? 35?
33.
33. So you have a 33 cap, but say you have 28 kids. So why would you add, 5 others? And the teacher has to teach those other 5 a different curriculum. Why couldn't they just keep, 28? And so, there's a lot of different issues. I'm opposed to combo classes. I have always been opposed to combo classes. Mr. Tillman knows. Mr. Tillman knows that from the time I was on the board, I've always posed questions since 2008 about that. And we continuously have a trend, a pattern of 70, 72, 74, 75 combo classes. And I want the public to know it isn't based on any educational rationale. It's based on money. It's based on hiring another teacher or how many other teachers. And so I do agree that we should look at the data, but also the research from other school districts regarding data. But in addition, solutions. Well, how have other districts addressed this issue? And what have they done? When do we get another teacher? For our kids. And if we want to increase achievement, then, we as a board, we are the ones that determine how the money is distributed for our kids. Not the administrators, the board, the parents, the public. It's the parents and the kids that we serve. And I'm happy that ICUC is here today to come forward and raise the issue. Les agradezco mucho. And, I don't like to wait. Why couldn't we do a pilot? Maybe not 20, maybe 10. Why couldn't we do a pilot to see what happens in this coming year? While we're doing, quote, the research to come up with solutions where we include everybody. So I would be in favor of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Flores. Dr. Scott White, did you have any questions or comments?
I would also like our unions to be a part of this. I would like the teachers and classified also to be in charge of it. And if we do create those positions, it would be right in line with our Grow Our Own, where we could hire our college students to be teachers' aides, and then they could then come back and be teachers in our district.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Flores. Dr. Wyatt?
Well, that's okay. Thank you, Madam President. Not much more I could add that my colleagues haven't said already, but number one, and I think Ms. Rogers was touching on this, is that our parents definitely need to have a choice to be able to move their students, their children, to another class or even maybe another school when they're in a combo class. But I really want to see the data as well, to do a comparative analysis to look at performance between the classes that are non-combo classes versus combo classes, to look at academic performance, their behavior concerns, possible social emotional concerns as well, if we're able to quantify that, that'd be good, just to give us a baseline to really start working from. But really, each student's going to be different, so I think that's where we need to start. And then I love the idea of setting up a combination classroom committee. And now I would be more than happy to join that as well in the conversation, to look at the data and then come up with some great solutions, because obviously it's a concern to our community. And I'm looking at the numbers over the years. Last year we had the most, 78, and we're down to 71 this past, well, excuse me, 2 years ago, and then this past year to 71. So definitely needs attention, and it sounds like we're going to form a committee to address it. So.
All right, great, thank you. And then Mr. Tillman, before I go ahead with your comment or
just
question.
one more point. I really think, we've been, the district has been around for 100 years. We've had common classes for 100 years. I really think we should take our time to analyze it and take the proper steps. And that goes along with the prototype. If you're going to do a pilot, then the pilot should be based on getting input from the teachers. You said bring in the associations or unions. Allow them to agree what they think the best system is, and then use it as your pilot. The worst thing to do is to take a pilot that only ICUC suggested and tell the district employees, you're going to do this because this is what has been suggested, if they haven't bought into it. Because if it's not successful, they're going to be blamed for it not being successful. Whereas we might have the discussion, get some suggestions from the people who are going to be doing the work every day, have them suggest a better pilot that we all agree on, and then move forward with that. My only thing is just don't rush for the sake of moving fast. I think we should make sure I'm not saying delay it by years, but I'm saying within the next month or so, we definitely can get the information back. Because I think the next step is going to be, staff's not going to have all the answers tonight, so we'll agendize it again for next month. We'll get the answers to our questions, and that's going to give us the information to decide how to move next.
Madam President, I'd like to respond to him.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Tillman, I agree with you. I think we shouldn't wait a year. I think that we could do this. I mean, Mr. Muir just came before us, and within a month we're going to begin a class and so forth. I mean, that's how fast we've moved with that. So why couldn't we move fast with this in terms of moving and talking to our CSBA, our classified union, our SBTA union, get some teachers, parents, et cetera, and move it instead of waiting, a whole year.
I didn't say wait a year.
Okay. Oh, I know.
I didn't say wait
I know,
a year.
but I mean, I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's what I said. I agree with you.
Okay.
So I'm with you, Mr. Tillman.
Okay, so then I know that we've had this conversation, maybe not necessarily as an agenda item, but we've had this conversation before with regarding the data. So I know we do have some data present with regarding the work that they're trying to do, because I know, I'm not sure if it was Dr. Keenan Mitchell or is it Perry Wiseman that has shown that they've started looking at some of the solutions that they're trying to change. And so I don't know if you have anything that you want to say regarding that.
And Abigail, I've got
Thank you. So, board, you should have received a board correspondence recently. ICUC's been speaking. I believe there was a meeting a couple years ago at Richardson Prep, and then the last few board meetings during public comments. And there was some discussion around adding some staff, teaching interns to all the combination classrooms. I did get a chance to meet with ICUC on June 24th, 2019. And we talked about, here's some information, why we have combination classes. They asked some questions, and we also talked about some next steps, and they hit it right, the nail on the head in regards to some of the recommendations. How are we going to assign teachers? Because there's no standard. It's just different across the district. How are we going to select students and exit students? The training for the teachers is going to be important as well. And then the last one we discussed was, and it's in line with what the board's saying, is before we make a decision on hiring additional staff, let's have this committee come together and look at some best practices. Dr. Flores, actually, ICUC had a great suggestion, which we're incorporating in the committee. They said we want to talk to parents and do some focus group with parents, the teachers, as well as the students. So we're going to certainly get the voices of our stakeholders in that, and the unions will be involved as well. The combination classes, there's some information within the board correspondence. We are around 70 combination classes each year, ranging from 71 up to 78. Our average the past 3 years has been 73 combination classes, and we have approximately 1,000 classrooms, 1,040 elementary classrooms in the district, and that's with 71 combination classes. It's about 6.8% of our classrooms in the elementary level are going to be combination classes. The costs, there were some questions about costs. We did work through, and you see the cost there. A college intern, which is not available, is only available 20 hours a week. It's part of the requirements for being a college intern, is $10,000. Multiply that by the average, it's $730,000. The instructional aides, $35,000 each. That's going to be $2.5 million. Teaching interns, that would be $80,000, and that's $5.8 million. And then the school that was referenced, and I want to share this with the board, previously where this was occurring, where there was an additional body in the classroom, it was actually a resident sub that was in the classroom with the teacher. And we did do some digging and talk to the principal at the school site, and there was some issues with leave and the employee and performance. So we had to actually put another body in there to make sure that the students were successful. So that would be the reason for the additional bodies in that particular classroom. So board, the recommendation is to certainly partner with ICUC. They're going to be a part of the committee. I think we had just a fantastic meeting, and they agreed to the recommendations they brought forward tonight as well. And then the only piece is let's let the committee that involves the stakeholders come together, look at the data, and then determine whether or not we need some additional staff in some of our combination classrooms. So that's what we have, board.
Okay, so then I guess the next steps would make sure that we organize the committee, ensuring that we have our SBTA, our teachers union, our teachers are classified, because there are some questions regarding the interns as well. Having our parents, students, and some district that can provide some of the data of what they can do. So we can start that with the intention of starting a pilot program in the beginning of the school year, because it's something that we can look at what we can improve on. So definitely start that. And then of course, board members that want to participate in that committee as well. So then we
Madam
can have
President?
that. Yes, Mr. Tillman?
Your situation you shared where you had a resident sub in the class with this teacher, did that predicament have anything to do with it being a combination class, or was it just because this teacher was needed the extra resources? And do we do that to teachers in non-combo classes?
Yes, we do it in combination classrooms, not combination classrooms. If you, it was, the rationale wasn't because it was a combination class, it was because of the teacher needing additional supports.
All right. And then Barbara, I see your finger. No.
Yes. I would like to recommend that we, like what Mr. Tillman said, move it along so that we get a status report by what, Mr. Tillman?
We can agree to. I mean, because I don't want to assume anything. When I said results, I was going to start with test score. I know Dr. Flores wants more than that.
Test scores are easy to get. They're easy
That's
to
what I
get.
was thinking.
They're
right.
easy to
and
get.
And it could be obvious.
But I think the focus groups need to start immediately. I think we need our teachers, we need our unions on board immediately. I personally would like a status update by our second meeting in September. That would be enough time, a couple of months, Dr. Marston, in terms of where we're at with, in terms of the teachers' input, classified employees' input.
We'd be
et
happy to
cetera.
do that.
Yeah. That's what I would recommend, Madam President.
Okay. All right. And then Dr.
And board.
Ms. Rogers?
And I just want to say the recommendation that the district did give from the voices from ICU, this is a perfect recommendation. I think the only difference is what we're adding right now is we're saying how we're going to obtain some additional data from what has been happening. But the assigning teachers to combination classes, looking at that, selecting how they're going to be exited, just exactly what you just said, the training of the teachers and allocating of appropriate resources. So this recommendation that how you guys have come together at this point, going into a committee is would be my recommendation.
And we heard you loud and clear. We will provide, as Dr. Wyatt also requested, not just the academic achievement data, but the behavioral data, et cetera. So we'll take a deep look on that data. We'll provide you an update around the second meeting in September, and certainly include our stakeholders from ICUC in the conversation going forward. So thank you very much to our ICUC partners, and we can't do this work alone, so we're so appreciative of you making the comments you did tonight and helping us to work together to continue to make the schools better places for kids.
All right, great. And I just want to mention, you mentioned the second week of September.
Second meeting of September?
Second meeting in September, and that would be for us to receive the information, or I imagine they're going to start doing this as soon as they can, so that way they can at least have the conversation with the committee. Is that what you're intending?
Yeah,
let
me let Dr. Wiseman speak, because his team would be managing the work. You bet.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I would, if the board would like an update on the second meeting in September, I would recommend we have it as a discussion item like this, and it'll say combination classes, and I'll share with the board where we're at. I might have some stakeholders come in and share how they've been a part of the process as well.
Can I just ask that Dr. Mitchell also weigh in at the next meeting from the perspective of the curriculum? Because Dr. Mitchell is big on professional development and classes, and the teaching expertise and the classroom role of it. So I understand your side of it from the HR side, but I think Dr. Mitchell at the next meeting has to be a part of it in terms of analyzing the data and the results, and you give us your perspective, what you think will make the biggest difference. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
We want to benefit the students and the teachers and the parents in the best way possible, but we have to have you weigh in from the expert that in the end is responsible for the results of those classrooms.
Absolutely, be happy to. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. And again, thank you to ICUC and all the parents, para todos los padres que están aquí, los estudiantes. Muchas gracias por asistir y traer sus voces. La verdad, se lo agradecemos mucho. Thank you, everyone, for bringing your voices. I think it's very important for us to hear from you directly, because you're the one experiencing it in our classrooms. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Okay, so then we're going to have a conversation with Community Pathways. Did you want to, or Pathways Continuity, and then the health, heart personnel, or are we kind of covered the discussion with all of this? Do we need to?
It's
No?
your pleasure.
Because I know that was one of the conversations they were bringing, but I think we can move along. I think this one can be done within correspondence.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so we can cover those in correspondence. Let's go to 3.1, which is closed session public comments. Do we have any comment cards for closed session items?
No, Madam President, no public comments on closed session topic items.
Okay, so now we will move to 3.2. The board will now adjourn to closed session.
Well,
We will
hang on.
Yes.
Are we going to talk about these other two things in here, or no? Correspondence?
We're going to
Okay.
receive a
I see.
correspondence for
I
those
see.
two items, unless you want to have a discussion on that. Did you want to have a conversation on that?
Could we briefly just have updates on the?
Yes, we
on
can
it?
go back if
Yeah.
that's a pleasure. I
Right. Can we just have quick
Mr.
updates?
Chairman, I
Certainly.
thought you were-
So just briefly, we'll have Dr. Mitchell give you an update on our pathways continuity, and then very briefly, Dr. Perez an update on our heart personnel.
So board, I wanted the issue from the parents that the parents from Norton brought a couple issues to the board. One was requesting that Norton be turned into or transformed into a K-8 from a K-6. And then also their concern about the continuity of the pathway or the opportunities that we provided to Norton students. And so, a couple comments. I'll start first with the continuity question. Number one, our intent was never to build pathways from the elementary up. We build pathways from the high school down. We start with an analysis of the national workforce needs, and then we also look at the California state as well as local workforce needs. Those needs primarily center around two areas. That's around manufacturing, inclusive of engineering and design, and then around the medical pathways. Our intent at the elementary as it relates to career pathways was purely exploratory. We don't want second graders deciding what they want to do as a career. We want them to explore careers. Secondly, we also want to expose them to what we call the 6 C's, which is creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, communication, character development, and citizenship. The 6 C's are what we call 21st century job skills, meaning that no matter what area you're in, that high-performing employees have a highly developed sense of creativity, able to collaborate, able to be critical thinkers, and so on and so forth. And we call those the 6 C's. So the intent at the elementary school level is to explore careers and to develop our kids as thinkers and collaborators and being creative and so on and so forth. So that's not to suggest. So all of our 45 elementary schools have a variety of high-quality programs that they're offering. But it would be impossible for us to take those elementary schools and build pathways through the high school to support the 45 elementary schools. Instead, what we've done is take the global and national workforce areas of development and build those down into the high schools and then into the middle schools. And our initial intent was around career exploration for the elementaries. Now, it's a particular issue at Norton. We do believe that there's an opportunity for those kids to get some kind of continuity after elementary, but that's something that we would probably try to do on a case-by-case basis. But to try to build, typically our middle schools have 6 to 8 elementary school feeders, and then to try to take those 6 to 8 elementary schools and have them all be one pathway so that the middle school can have the same pathway, it may not be the best investment of our time. We essentially want our elementary kids to be exposed to a variety of things, to stoke their interests and to stoke their imagination around future and possible careers. We also have all of our elementary schools have a focus on developing the 6 C's, again, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, communication, character, and citizenship. Now, as it relates to K-8 in terms of strictly facilities, Norton lacks several middle school facilities issues that are necessary to provide a balanced middle school program. One, they lack a track. They don't have locker rooms. They don't have a gym. They lack science labs. They lack VAPA classrooms for music and so on and so forth. And they also lack a middle school library. If we wanted to transform Norton to a middle school, it costs us between $12 and $16 million to do that. And we can do that at the board's pleasure, given our budget and so on and so forth. But you can see the second issue that complicates that are attendance patterns. Right now, if we took the 66 graders and kept them at Norton as to be 7th graders, it wouldn't be enough because 7th graders take 5-6 classrooms for most. We'd have to add teachers, and to do that, we'd have to actually take from enrollment from Curtis and from Arrowview. So we would have to change attendance patterns and boundaries to make a 7th grade class full enough to be viable at Norton. And so one, the continuity of programs. I told Mr. Gallo after my conversation with the parents is that they're absolutely right. But our intent as a district was never to provide pathways from the elementary up. It's to provide pathways elementary down to middle school. And that K-6 is primarily meant for career exploration. Again, you don't want your first grader deciding they want to be an engineer. We want them to be exposed to because there's another issue around social sciences. We're probably not doing a good enough job around stoking kids' interest in English, art, and so on and so forth. There's other career areas besides engineering and so on and so forth.
All right.
And so then the facilities piece was what it was. And so just wanted to give that information to the board, and is happy to get any direction
Okay.
or further
And
research
then
for you.
we will start with Dr. White first and then move our way down. No? Okay, Dr. Flores?
Just an observation. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Marsden, we have a communication problem then. And parents assume that we were establishing career pathways in the elementary. So we have a definite communication problem. What Dr. Mitchell just explained, I wasn't under that assumption as well.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
realized that too.
we were creating pathways from the elementary up.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And so, no wonder the parents are upset, because that was what they assumed. So we're going to have to clarify what our assumptions are and what our, if it is indeed exploratory. And then that messaging has to be made throughout the district, because we have, promoted it as, from career college readiness from K up.
No, that's great
So,
advice. Thank you.
So that's my my observation, and I wasn't aware of all the other aspects that you just shared, and so it entails a lot, not just adding 2 classes.
Thank you, and that's great feedback. We agree wholeheartedly with you.
Yeah, and so, if we, if we have exploratory programs, great, but it's in middle school and high school that they're going to. So now, what do we have in middle schools? So I want to know that. I'm curious about what are the career pathways, or are they exploratory, or are they going to be the beginnings of them moving into whatever their high school is?
Yeah, I think you highlight a very important piece of this journey is communication
Right.
and information sharing. We talk about it a lot, and it's difficult to do. Information is like oxygen. Without it, people
Right.
hallucinate. So,
Right.
we want to make sure
Right.
that we do a good job of messaging and marketing this work.
Exactly.
So thank you. That's
Exactly.
great feedback.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Ms. Rogers.
And I'll just add, that is the reason, I think it's on one of our board requests, why we have been asking for an update on the pathways and to find out where their continuity is. Because if we generally speak about it or bite about it, that has been my ongoing question and problem, is how are we doing that? And then we're constantly adding them on. So does this one connect? Even tonight, tonight to me, John Muir is still Dr. Marsden is going to bring some information back, but we have to start to see where do these pathways fit. And,
Right.
and of course, as a parent, if in your mind, when you go over to Norton and you see that, and all of our pathways, it's something in our mind that we think we want to continue. Oh, I hope my child continues to do that. But that may not be the case. So we have to get clarification. It is on one of our board correspondents to say an update, and we need to get an understanding of where we are with pathways as we continue to add them.
Yeah, well, I agree. Ms.
Great, thank
Rogers.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallo?
Yeah, well, I've been participating in this since I've been on the board. As you know, that's one of the reasons I joined this board, is actually to pursue the implementation of career pathways model. And I got it's more than semantics, I think, between what you just shared with us, Dr. Mitchell, and what at least the vision that I had and that we had incorporated into our initial strategic planning efforts even before Dale got here. And this was based on the Pathways to Prosperity report by out of the Harvard College of Education. And it was kind of an incremental way of inspiring and engaging students in hands-on applied learning approaches that went beyond just academic instruction. And the study showcased that it would be a tiered escalation of career exposure type activities, as you mentioned, in the elementary schools, to a more defined laboratory model in an experiential labs, more hands-on applied laboratories in middle school, and into actually certifications and credentials into high school, so that you actually had very targeted career opportunities in high schools that students could actually get out, as John Muir talked about, come out of high school with being able to go right into the world of work. When we looked at this for a couple of different models, and one happened to be at Norton Elementary that took a little different approach, but more in line with what the Pathways to Prosperity report said, of providing very detailed, embedded applied learning models and career pathway learning embedded within the core curriculum and instruction. So it was like a team teaching approach with project-based learning incorporated in each one of the subject areas, as versus, say, a Bing Wong approach that took it more like a kind of an elective model where you had wood shop and other kinds of experiential things that was a separate class, not necessarily embedded into the English, history, social sciences, and all of those. So those were two models that we had actually experimented with, and I think we saw Elizabeth at Norton take it in a different way, kind of more depth of knowledge and things, and we saw with the STEAM lab at Bing Wong take it in kind of a generalized approach of career exposure type activities. And I think the real goal of this was to actually have elementary feeders that could provide the cadre of maybe broader based career type exposure activities, just to inspire and engage the kids, not to guide them towards any particular career field, but just to let them know what are the possibilities out there. And I think this is consistent with what we've been talking about, I know, and what we've been implementing. But I think we've not really moved to the embedded model yet, even though that's where education really seems to be driving, is that this is inculcated into the pedagogy of teaching and instruction, where you actually have the applied learning laboratories built into your core classes. Mathematics classes, et cetera, would have an applied learning component like a laboratory in chemistry class was. And that is a different structure, I know, and it's one that we really haven't embedded across the district. We've kind of implemented our career pathways in an elective kind of mindset. And that's we've got to, in my mind, start migrating this towards the integration of this as part of our core instructional curriculum, so that every student not only gets the academic instruction, but exposure to some level of interest in career pathway that would stimulate a student's choice to apply their mathematics and other subject matter too. And ultimately, we even talked about at this within this district and at the board level of actually creating schools of choice where students and parents would be able to choose based on what
their interest,
particular focus a curriculum might have, to go to a given school, and so that we kind of have no boundaries, so to speak. And people be able to choose based on what the topic matter was offered, and we'd want to do the whole broad spectrum of topics. So I think this is a strategic investments that we're making, and I think I'd like to see it really move towards the next step of full integration into the way that we conduct our entire pedagogy and instruction, as the Pathways to Prosperity report illustrated.
So Mr. Gallo, we are perfectly aligned that our aspirational state in our district is that kids that our workforce competencies are embedded directly into our core curriculum. agree wholeheartedly, and that we know that the best, the highest quality learning involves applied learning, and so we're agreed on our end state.
And I know it takes a while to get
and
there.
it takes a
believe
while,
me. I
and
get
it
it.
also requires an extremely skilled teacher to be able to do that. And I think that when we started, we did a ready, fire, aim approach. And I think that you're absolutely correct in your assessment on the different approach that Bing Wong and Norton took. We're proud of both. I think that, to your point, that Norton has done a different job of embedding the workplace skills.
And there's
into
no
the
right
core.
answer,
And there's no
really.
right-
I mean, there's no reason to not have a choice, you know.
And we
different-
didn't consider when kids matriculate, where do they go next? And so I was transparent with our parents to say, yeah, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. That we need to be thinking that through a little bit better. So I think in terms of our strategic vision, we keep pushing and keep driving toward that, the aspirational state, which is all of our kids are in classrooms having opportunities to apply conceptual knowledge in a laboratory kind of scene, as well as some experiences outside of the school that reinforce those learning. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Okay, Mr. Tillman.
I think the part that is missing is the practical part. And I mean, to me, tonight's discussion is just illustration that the board needs to have more things agendized that we can discuss openly, because we just got exposed to a huge issue. Because it'd be no different than having a music program, and your kid starts taking saxophone, and you got a kid that plays the clarinet in the 3rd grade. Everybody's not going to continue music to the 6th grade. But when your kid starts playing like Boney James by the 6th grade, and you tell them, well, that's the end of the concept, and the music program is over, and there's not going to be no middle school where you can go play, parents are going to buy that. And you have the same thing happening here. I visited Norton. When you have a student who's talking about rotating the sphere around the x-axis and the integral of pi r squared, at that level, you are impressed. And they do it for 3 years. Now, all the kids aren't going to be at the top of the class, but those ones that are, and the ones that are doing actual architectural engineering, have bought into it and it clicked. To tell the kid that's the end, that's unacceptable. And then maybe we need to be more cognizant of where we planting these seeds. Because what you guys are actually talking about doing is you're planting a tree. In the 3rd grade, the tree starts giving you plums in the 6th grade, and you say, oh, we're going to cut the tree down, and that's the end of it. I don't think that's what parents want. Parents really do want us to allow them, the students who are successful in the multitude of pathways, to be able to grow it. For us to suggest that you're going to take all those kids in those engineering classes who work with those 3D printers, and I mean, I couldn't believe the conversation I was having with those students in Norton. But to suggest to them that's all going to end now, that's not going to work. I mean,
yeah. So we are looking into a fix for that particular boggle. I'm also from a larger point of view, we have 40 plus elementaries that are all doing similar. We can go to each of our schools and see similar kind.
And that's my point,
Yeah,
because
I don't
want to just focus on Norton. I think what
Yeah.
it does is bring to light a
Right.
bigger issue.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing like things at different sites,
Right.
and you realize these students are, some of them are going to gain this momentum, and some of them are going to actually find
their niche.
Their niche.
Yeah.
And right, coding would be another area.
Yeah.
If you're teaching kids how to code, all the kids aren't going to do good in coding.
Right.
But those ones that do, and heck yeah, they should be.
So I appreciate what you're saying, because we didn't think that through when we first started this endeavor, and we want to be transparent about that. I think it takes another level of conversation for us to kind of hardwire with that.
I agree.
So.
And let me say this, even though Gwen and Mike are having their sidebar, parents don't really care about facilities.
Right.
We found it out with charter schools.
Right.
They put the kids in storefront. I don't think none of the charter schools have a track.
Right.
They don't care. They still send the kids there. They're sending the kids there for that type of education that they want their kid to get. And so that shouldn't be the limiting factor.
Yeah.
They don't care about an auditorium. They don't care about any of that stuff. I don't think any of the charter schools have labs. Even some of them teach in middle school.
Right.
But you can still teach without it. It'd be great if you did have it.
Right.
But that shouldn't be the limiting factor. And some of the parents, I guarantee you, that are attending Norton would say, hey, I would forego all that to allow my students to continue to get this type of education. Even if you don't have to send kids to 6 different teachers. They could continue the same model they have, where you go to 1 class a day, or they're going to 2 or 3 classes a day. And I think what I saw at Norton is what Mr. Gallo was always pushing. The teachers have bought into including whatever that niche is for engineering in all of their subject matters. The English class is writing about what they did in the science class, and the science class is having them do English at the same time they're doing science. And the math class is teaching them math through the engineering part of the math. Right. So they want that continued, and I think it'd be great to if you guys go throughout the district, identify some of these
outlier programs that are high quality.
Exactly. Yes. And then those would be the ones you say for a fact you want to have a school of choice that can recruit kids from throughout the district to continue those expertise.
And that's exactly what we're proposing. Is we probably can't do it all, but there are some standout programs at our elementaries that we are looking to support right now. Yeah. We'll bring something back.
Quickly, I agree with you.
Right. Let me finish by saying that. Right. So that's a big difference than what you said about the 6 C's, and this was never meant to go further.
I wanted to clarify our initial intent.
Exactly. Yeah, so, but I think we all agree that's changed now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, and then Dr. Flores.
Great
I just want to comment on Mr. Tillman and Mr. Gallo's comments. I was under that assumption too, that they were going to continue and so forth. And like what you say, we have kids that are already like super engaged and so forth. Then it behooves us as the board to direct our administrators to explore that. I mean, and to really have a viable solution to continue that, because we don't know who the next, Einstein's going to be.
Exactly.
We don't know who the next, who's the guy that invented electricity? Edison is going to be, right?
And Mr. Lattimore.
It's just really, what did you say?
Lewis Lattimore was the one that invented the filament.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think, you're right, it was. But anyway, I think that it's the light bulb, right? And so I agree with you, both.
Yeah, and let me say, Dr. Floyd, when I went to Norton when they had the visiting Chinese students there.
Right.
And I talked to some young ladies from Norton who did not fit the stereotype of a scientist or a nerd or any of that. And when these young ladies start using the terminology, I was blown away.
Right. Well, think about Hidden Figures.
Right.
Look at all the African American women that made possible our going to the moon.
Right. So they
were the mathematicians.
Right. And those schools can become demonstration schools and demonstration
Okay,
students.
so what I'm hearing now is that we want to make sure that we continue the curriculum and finding ways how we can expand it within the middle school. And then, because we do have the demand, and this is like cutting off the wings once they, you have to provide those opportunities. And I think our school district is ready for that next level. So thank you for that. Yes, thank you for that. And I know that we are excited to make sure that we provide those opportunities for them. Okay, so then since it is past 7 o'clock, and we try to be mindful for our public comments, those that came forward. So we will do public comments. We're going to go ahead and move 6.0 forward, and that way we can, I'm sorry? Well, the heart we spoke on, the heart we moved to just look at the personnel, the BC, the board correspondence, because that was. Do you want to say it? We could say it publicly. well, since the ICUC's intention was to speak on it and they decided to focus on that. But go ahead, if we can, just briefly, who's the one that's supposed to speak
Yeah,
on that one?
Dr. Perez can, if it's helpful, we can just read, for the sake of the public, the recommendation that the cabinet has regarding
Just
this
briefly, right.
initial request.
Sure. So it is our recommendation that we expand the HEART team within the Student Wellness and Support Services Department by hiring 4 additional HEART associates. This recommendation has actually already been in action. Working in conversation with ICUC, we helped them understand that that was our intention from over a year ago. So they're in agreement with us and are supporting that recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Perez.
Okay, now we'll be moving to 6.0 for public comments. Let me go ahead and read briefly what that means. So that is when recognized, please step to the podium, give your name, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Please monitor your time. And then when you look at the time in the computer behind us, you will take note on what's your time left as well. And then you'll hear from Ms. Cunningham. She'll say time or something regarding that nature. Okay, Dr. Marsden.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. The board welcomes Larry Shackelford and the CAPS Golf Update. Welcome. Good evening.
They want to come out on the camera. Look at. That's okay. That's okay if the audience wants to see them.
Which mic is on? This mic? Here we go. Oh, I can stand up here. All right, perfect. All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Board President Medina, board members, Superintendent Marsden, and Cabinet. Thank you guys for giving us a few minutes to update you on the CAPS golf program and recognize these students for their hard work that they've been putting in. First and foremost, I want to thank the board for providing us the resources that allow them to not only get an experience to connect with golf, but also give them the tools that they need, the equipment. They give them access to give them access to the golf course. All of these students, you guys ready for this? You're not ready? Brief history. A few years ago, we started this program, and it was specifically to try to Mr. Charlie Seymour had a vision. He wanted to connect students in the district to the game of golf. And we started this program specifically to try to meet his expectations, meet his vision. We started in 2 schools, 2 schools to 4 schools, 4 schools to 8 schools. Last year, we had just shy of 150 students that participated in the CAPS golf program. Next year, we're projecting to be in 16 schools, elementary and middle school. We added middle schools a couple of years ago, and so we've had hundreds of students that have gone through the program. Part of the program is our curriculum. Everything we do is founded on a code. The code has 5 elements. The one we work on the most important one is, you guys ready? As a golfer, I understand golf is a game of honor. Keep going. Golf is a game of honor. I don't need referees or umpires to watch over me. If I break a rule, I'm expected to penalize myself. Everything we do stems from that. These students, we started the summer golf program, again, thanks to the board, gave us the resources that we needed. So these guys get to play golf 2 days a week. These students, we started at 0. Responsibility equals privilege. They started with no privileges. All these students in front of you now have the privilege to go to the golf course on their own, practice when they want. They get practice for free because of our relationship with Shannon Hills Golf Course. So I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to say, but we kind of want to get these guys out of here. They've been like squirming around in their chairs already. I got 2 minutes left. Anybody have a story they want to tell? I know one story. One of the things I wanted to say, these students also represent a cross-section of all the kids in the district that play, that are part of the program. What we have here is we have competition winners. We had a competition last year. Where are you? Anthony, Arturo, Jose's not here. Hold up your hand. You weren't in none of the other Anthony. What we did was we had a grid. There was like certain targets set up, 25 points, 50 points, 100 points. We had the top scoring school was 5,850 points. That was Shannon Hills Middle School. The second, and the elementary school's tied at 5,800 points. Poor Freddie here was on the school at Lincoln. They scored 5,775 points. One shot, and there was another school, I forget who it was at 50. I think Lincoln Elementary was at 5,500 points. 1 or 2 shots separated the winners from the non-winners. And so another thing is that we have what we refer to as legacy families. Older students are in the program, come to the golf course, their younger brothers and sisters come with them, figure out that they like playing golf, and so now they're, step up front, Elena and Ava, these two right here, they can stand, get up there, Vincent. They stand at the driving range and they'll hit balls for hours and hours. Those two right there, if we keep them playing, that's all we gotta do is keep them playing, and we'll see them on television. These two young ladies can sit, they listen, they'll hit balls for hours. What else do we have up here? We have athletes. Isabella was dominating yesterday. Raise your hand, Isabella. Isabella whipped the boys. If it wasn't for Freddie, the boys would have got shut out yesterday at the golf course.
Great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm almost out of time, guys. Sorry. But anyway, thanks again for everything. Oh, yeah. Again, every single one of the students that's gone through the program, we've seen at least once the twinkle in their eye when they grasp the concept of no referees and no umpires. The more we keep them playing, the more that reality will stick. So thank you for all your support, and our time's up. Anybody want to say anything? Vincent? Oh, wait.
Go ahead, speak in the microphone so we can hear you. Right behind where he was at? No, yes, so you can hear you. You could bring it down. There you go.
When I first started the golf course, I thought I was the worst, but then I ended up being positive and said I was the best, and that's all I say every time I play golf.
That's great. Oh,
Nice.
congratulations. That's great. That's great. All right, well. All right. All right.
And,
Thank you. And then Mr. Tillman has a comment or question.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Shackelford and the other coach. What's your other? Mr. Martinez, who's always out there from San Bernardino. It's just wonderful to see the students out there. A lot of the students wouldn't have the opportunity to golf if we didn't have this program. This is another one of those things I talked about earlier. In terms of inspirational, it's just nice the way we do it. And just to see, I want to commend Mr. Shackelford. I can guarantee you that he's putting in the work. And every time I go out there, there's different students, and the students are definitely engaged. Who was out there the other day when Mr. Shackelford said I had the wrong form? Who saw me hit the shot? You see the shot I hit with my driver? What, I hit about 300 yards? But thanks for all your work.
Thank you. And just so from the people that are watching us on TV, they could see which shirts that we're getting. I'm not sure if they're able to get the camera. If not, it's okay. I'll just go ahead and do it.
We'll have to work out the sizes. We have shirts for the cabinet also.
All right, great.
We'll work out the sizes and everything. Thank you guys for the time.
I know we're out of time, but I just want to make a really quick comment. I'm my grandma, and I have 3 of my grandchildren in here. Arturo started with the program, and then I brought Athena, and she really liked it. Then I brought Elena, and she loves it. If I could take her every single day, she will want to come every single
That's
day.
cool.
And that has helped her like be more responsible. So
Thank
I'm
you.
very, very grateful for this program. Thank you.
That's
And
amazing.
can we give the super grandma a round of applause?
Yay. All right, great. Thank you. And I do see other parents here. Thank you for joining us as well. Thank you. All right, thank you, students.
Thank you, Mr. Shackelford, for your leadership with the students,
All right.
providing the opportunities.
And just so you
Board-
see,
Board welcomes Eris Rodriguez, Azusa Pacific University. Good evening and welcome. Speak with us about the Inland Empire campus.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, distinguished panelists. My name is Aries Rodriguez. I'm the director of the AP Azusa Pacific University's College Bound program. I'm here to introduce the San Bernardino Unified School District, an opportunity for your students for guaranteed enrollment in our bachelor completion program, and also affordable as well. Also, I understand that many individuals are economically disadvantaged, so I've actually read statutes and came up with a program that could potentially not only lower tuition all the way up to less than $4,000 to zero. So it's going to be the non-traditional route. Starting this year, the class of 2019, community college students are guaranteed, those who graduate high school in this area are guaranteed up to 2 years free tuition. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. It's called the Promise Program. So the Promise Program guarantees up to 2 years free tuition for your students. And then I don't know if you guys are aware of it as well, but not only the FAFSA, which is a federal branch, but the California State Aid Commission, which is at the state level, says that for those students who transfer from a community college to a private four-year university with a GPA of 2.4 and above can get up to $10,000 a year. So if they transfer as a junior and a senior, they get up to $20,000. If they transfer as a sophomore, they get $10,000 as a sophomore, $10,000 as a junior, $10,000 as a senior. That's up to $30,000. My bachelor completion program here at Azusa Pacific University is up to $24,000. So do the math. You get $30,000. Our curriculum is $24,000. Potentially, you can potentially get a free tuition-free education. So I just wanted to present that with the board. You know, our university is located here. We actually, our main campus is located in Azusa, but our regional campus is located here in the Inland Empire region in San Bernardino at the corner of East Street and Hospitality. So I just want you guys to let you know that at the regional campus, we actually make it affordable for any student who wants to get a bachelor's degree, affordable here in this area.
Great.
all right, thank you so much for bringing that.
And Mr. Rodriguez, if
Yes,
you
sir.
before you leave, if you don't mind handing your card to Ms. Ginger Ontiveros over here, she is involved in our community engagement to develop strong relationships with university partners. And so, if you could please do that before you leave, that'd be appreciated. Thank
Definitely,
you. Thank you for making the time to be here tonight.
Thank you. I have
Thank you.
2 more minutes. I just want to say that not only are we going to be affordable, potentially also, as far as our curriculum is concerned, I believe you have a middle college high school.
Correct.
Those students, I believe, graduate with 30 credits up to 60 credits. They can immediately transfer at our APU campus and graduate with a bachelor's degree in less than 2 years.
Correct.
You know, and then as opposed to, I know we have a great university system, but it's so impacted. Not a lot of people realize the impactedness of the Cal State system is, if you look at the Cal State system, 4 years, only 19% graduate. 6 years, only 57% graduate. So what happens to the other 40%? You know, so APU is willing to offer an education not only cost effective, but efficiency is concerned. So they're going to get into their careers. You know,
What's your graduation success rate?
We have it's a small program right now. My program in criminal justice has about 20 students, and so far it has a 100% graduation rate. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also, I believe you also have an academy as far as Law and Society Academy is concerned, or a Public Safety Academy is concerned. Those individuals already have interest in the law. You know, we can implement the APU bound program with those students where they can already get a guaranteed admittance into our bachelor program if they're interested. So
Very
Thank you
good.
guys very much.
All right,
Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
very much. Thanks for making the time to be here. And again, if you don't mind checking in with Ms. Santaveros, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You have a great evening. Thank
you too. So we have a handful of folks that would like to speak on the topic of CSEA wage increase. So I'll just call you all and ask you to organize yourselves as a group. Paul Phillips, Michael Leon, Ricardo Cisneros, and I think that's it right now. Come on down.
So you can come on forward.
And good evening. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Paul Phillips. I'm a painter for the school district here with us. I just want to start out by letting you know. Oh, thank you.
Okay, you have some fans back there.
Thank you.
I just wanted to start out by saying I really love where I work. I love being able to work for this community because it needs it the most that I've seen out of all the communities.
That's right.
The kids that I see, they have to deal with environments that I've never seen conditions in other school districts. And I feel that I'm able to help them and support them by creating a good school environment, something that we can control and give to these children. And I feel most of the CSCA, if not all of them, feel the same way. And it's important that we feel that we're creating a difference. And the reason why I'm personally here is because I'm part of the negotiations team for the wages and all the rest of the contracts. And we've been offered a 2.5% raise, and the reasoning that we've been given is because the teachers got a 2.5 wage increase, which is on the surface it sounds like a legitimate argument, a legitimate reason, but in reality, I don't know if you recall, but back in your days when you were younger, or maybe not making as much money, maybe $14, $16 an hour, close to minimum wage, getting the cost of living makes a big difference year to year. It makes a huge difference. And that's why I'm here, because that is less than the cost of living increase. The cost of living increase is 3.26. And we're asking for that. We're not asking for crazy monies. We're not asking to dump all your money into our CSEA. You know, we understand that there's a lot of important things in this district that needs to be funded. And the budget is a giant burden that is on you guys' shoulders to figure out. And you guys have a lot of sway. And we're hoping that you would stand with us when it comes time to be able to get that cost of living wages. Because in reality, when you're dealing with a heavy object that you're trying to move, such as, say, a budget, you don't thrust the weight on the weaker people. You never do. It's the stronger people you thrust that weight onto. So that way they can take the help. Now what we have is those weaker people who are making $16 an hour, pretty close to minimum wage. And those people are gonna pretty soon have to start putting their car payments, their rent onto credit cards and things, and it'll just turn into a giant pit that they can't get out of. And that's what we don't want to see. Many of the CSEA members have children that go to schools here, and there's studies that we see throughout all the education system that the financial burden on the families affects the education of the children. And we see that it's a direct link. And we don't want to see that in the CSEA members that work here for their children to have that burden. It may $20 a week may not seem like a big deal to those who make a large amount of money, but those who don't, it makes a huge difference. I know it can be the difference from being able to get to work on time or having to use a sick day or something because you don't have enough gas to get to work or whatever reason. And that's not what I want to see in our fellow CSEA members. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm personally here. And that's why I decided to help with the negotiations team, because I didn't want to see my fellow members to be in that situation. I used to run a pawn shop. I saw it day in, day out. People pawning the precious jewelry that they got from, ancestors or whatever, so they can get gas money. And I didn't want to see my fellow CSEA members doing the same thing. And that's why we feel that asking for the cost of living is not too much to ask. We feel it's appropriate. And we would hope that you would support us in doing so.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Phillips.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Medina, school board members, Superintendent Dr. Marston, audience members, CSA members, and our supporters. My name is Michael Leon, and I'm the new Labor Relations Representative for CSA Chapter 183. I really wish we could have met on better terms, but so be it. I'm here this evening on behalf of our membership and to express the importance of providing them the appropriate cost of living raise. Many of our members live within the community. Living and working in the same community brings a strong tie to the school district. Their children attend our local neighborhood schools. Our members are not only concerned about their work site, but their child's school. A classified school employee is the first one to interact with the students in the morning and the last one to see them before they go home at night. They are committed to providing services to students as if they're their own children. Many classified school employees have a long-term relationship with the district through their working career, as well as volunteering to help with their children's classrooms. As you can see, they are here for the students as if they're their own children. Since CSA is simply asking for a 3.26 cost of living increase the governor provided in the budget. We are here to ask you to direct the administration to come back to the table and allow this to happen. It will be a benefit to the district as well as the students and the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeLeon.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President and fellow board members. My name is Ricardo Cisneros. I'm the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Inland Empire Labor Council, representing over 289,000 members in the Inland Empire. We represent public employees, private sector, and building trades. First, I want to thank you for working out a deal with the teachers, giving them the 2.5 increase for this year and 2% for next year. But I'm here today standing in solidarity with our classified employees and members of CSCA. As we know, the governor approved a COLA increase of 3.26%, as you heard earlier. So I'm asking for you to move a 3.26 increase for classified employees for this year and reopeners for the following years. This increase will directly impact their families and our communities. As you know, here in San Bernardino, we deeply need it. We need to build a stimulus of local in our local economy, and this is a way to do it. And yourselves as school board members, you can make that happen. And on a different note, what you guys were talking about earlier with ICUC, labor stands in solidarity with the proposal that ICUC put forth. So thank you very much, and hopefully we can work out a deal here.
Thank you, Mr. Cisneros. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we clarify. I know you guys mentioned COLA, which is cost of living allowance from the state. When we get cost of living allowance, say for 3.2%, it's not only pays for if we negotiate a raise, but also pays for the normal increase in step and column. There's a cost associated with that. And also, I mean, this board is one of the best boards in terms of supporting CSCA. When we talked about the medical benefits, we wanted to keep the medical benefits as affordable as possible, and we're one of the few districts that for a lot of our full-time employees still offer full medical benefits. That's a big deal. When the law changed for rec aides, and we made sure that we made the decision that we're not going to let the law dictate reducing staff. We made sure that we were going to pay for that additional cost and make sure if it meant that the rec aides were going to get medical benefits, we weren't going to allow them. We made sure that the district made the decision that no one's going to lose a job because it's going to cost us additional money to give them medical benefits. We looked at it as an opportunity for more of our employees to get medical benefits. And so but that costs money, and some of that money came out of the cost of living. So I just want to make it clear that cost of living pays for things other than just a negotiated pay raise.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do we have anything else?
Yes, we do, Madam President. The board welcomes Ms. Carla Quebec a proposal contract for domestic violence intervention program as her topic. Good evening and welcome.
Give it to Mr. Volkmer, Dr. Volkmer.
Good evening, board members and everyone here today.
Good evening.
I know I only have 5 minutes, so I'm gonna kind of just read what I wrote so that I make my time useful. I'm a director of operations at Positive Impact and have been doing community work for over 7 years. I am also a survivor from domestic violence. I'm not sure if you can hear me. That's why I'm passionate about this work and why it's so important for me. And I love the opportunity to come out and speak to you about the work that I do. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, a little testimony. At the age of 17 years old, I came into a relationship with a boy whose father was a judge and he was studying to be a lawyer. Seemed like a nice boy, enough to date, good background, and good, well-educated family. One night, we all went out with his cousins and friends to eat. He all of a sudden wanted to leave the restaurant and asked me that we should leave, and we did. As we walked to our house, he complained about me laughing about his cousin's jokes, and he accused me of liking his cousin. As I tried to reason with him, he stroked me across the face and beat me down on the street, picked me up and threw me on the concrete wall on the street. I managed to get away and ran into his cousin's house. His cousin came home and asked me to open the door. I was very frightened for my life. So I asked her to please promise that she wouldn't let him in the house. And she did promise, but he did manage to get in. And he grabbed me and dragged me out of her house and took me to his house and beat me again. He grabbed me, threw me on his couch in the living room, and he proceeded to go to his room because he was sure that I would stay in that sofa. And before he left, he said, "If you move out of this couch, I will kill you." And so after hours and hours, I had the courage enough to reach for the door and run for my life. So I ran for 5 miles to my grandma's house. And the only one that saw me that night at 4 a.m. was my grandma with my bruised face and my swollen face. My grandma died at 95 years old this year, and that subject was never talked about. So I grew up not having any help, any counseling, or any support. And at the age of 27 years old, that's when I found out that what happened to me when I was 17 had a name, and it was domestic violence. It was never just a boyfriend that lost his temper. And this is why this work is so important to me, because I want to bring awareness to our young adults in the schools, because it does happen at a young age. Sometimes we look at domestic violence as only prevention for the women and the adults that are going through it, but we don't think about the kids that live in a home, living and seeing a domestic violence situation with their parents, or maybe living it themselves. 1 in 3 adolescents is a victim of emotional, physical, or verbal abuse from a dating partner. 12 to 19 years old experience the highest rate of sexual assault. 18 to 19-year-old experience the highest rate of stalking. and 1 in 3 adolescent girls have suffered abuse by a dating partner. This is why my focus is to work with our youth through collaboration and through partnering with those who are also creating positive impact with our young adults in our community. Abuse, physical and emotional, affects our children and should be addressed. The challenge we face is that the victims who are in the abusive relationships or finally decide to get out of that situation, also those children that see it firsthand at home, the challenge we have is that we are not providing them the tools enough, the counseling enough, the resources enough for them to get the right help. This is why my focus is to address these issues. Positive Impacts seeks your support for this program. Our Stand Strong domestic violence program an intervention program empowers the students by providing life skills that promote positive values, develop healthy relationships, and offer tangible ways to seek help for themselves and supporting others effectively addressing domestic violence. I have handed out a proposal for you guys and also a letter of support for the program from Senator Connie Leyva and Assembly Luis Reyes. And I just want to say that the last thing, it was hard for me to share this testimony before, but I believe that it is my testimony that makes this program strong. So I appreciate your time. I don't know if you guys have any questions or if I can.
So what we typically do is we ask clarifying questions. So we have Dr. Flores who will ask clarifying questions.
Yes.
Question.
Thank you for coming. It's really important that you presented this. And just to clarify, what are you proposing? What are you proposing to our district?
So my proposal is right now, so that we can kind of try it out with our youth, 10 weeks in 3 schools for an hour. We would like to come in either in the morning before or in the school time or after school. We are workable with whatever it is that, you know, you guys would permit us to come in and work with the youth.
Mm-hmm.
And we can always ask the district to try to
Pardon me?
see. We can always ask the district to see how or where we can try to bring this program
Right.
in. So that would be
Dr.
something.
Marsden, I think that what you've presented is very, very key, and it's issues that we haven't addressed. So I would like us to explore more in depth.
Be our pleasure. So, Ms.
Yeah,
Quebec,
I don't know if
thank
it would
you.
be Dr.
Thank you.
Pettis.
Yes,
Would it be Dr.
absolutely.
Pettis? Okay.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for coming tonight, and we will take a look at what you have here, and Dr. Perez will likely and her team will reach out to you.
Thank you
All
so
right, great.
much. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our final comment, for public comment tonight, is from Ms. Jewel Patterson. Welcome and good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jewel Patterson. I am a youth organizer for Congregations Organized for Prophetic Engagement, or COPE. On April 23rd, 2019, we made an urgent appeal to SBCUSD board and superintendent to join us and a host of educators and social justice organizations in expressing strong opposition to the CSU proposal to expand A through G requirements by adding a 4th year of math and qualitative reasoning to the admissions requirement for incoming students. As you'll recall from our public comments, adding this requirement poses major equity and access concerns for Black and Latinx and low-income students in our communities. Students in SBCUSD already struggle to complete A through G requirements for 3 years of math. Adding another year could exacerbate this already existing equity concern for these students. This proposal further creates another hurdle to achieve the district's vision for increasing A through G completion and college-going rates among its entire student body. Other equitable concerns include a shortage of math teachers in high school, no evidence that a fourth year of math will determine student success at CSU, and an overall stray from the CSU's mission to be an open access institution. Earlier today, we sent you an email asking that SBCUSD superintendent and the school board join us and many others, including superintendents across the state, LA Unified School District, and Sacramento Unified School District, in opposing this proposal by submitting an opposition letter to the trustee secretariat. If you choose to stand with students and parents from this district, we ask that you submit your letter of opposition before Tuesday, July 23rd, which is when the fourth year math proposal will be heard before the CSU Board of Trustees. We know that San Bernardino City Unified School District is committed to our student success, and we hope you will continue to be a leader and an advocate for equity. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, and that's something that we should definitely send to the board so we can try to look at having a consensus in the language. So
What I would do is I have had initial based on the
Okay.
request, and I can share board with you where we are now and the
Okay.
information I've received from Dr. Morales, and then share with you what would be my recommendation based on the information that's been shared with COPE and my discussion with Tomas Morales from our local university. So we'll share a summary of that conversation with you, and then based on that summary, I can then receive direction from you from there.
okay, so then if you could send that before the deadline,
Point of
though,
order,
so that
yeah.
way.
Point of
Yes,
order.
Yes.
So when will you share that with us? And then
So-
it has to be given by the 27th, which is next week.
23rd, by next Tuesday is
Oh,
when
next
she's
Tuesday.
requesting that we
Next
send a letter by.
Tuesday, so we need
So
that
we would
soon
have
as-
to give you a summary of that by this week.
By this week.
So that you can have a look at that and have an opportunity before the end of the week to provide feedback. And then based on your feedback, we would then proceed after that.
So we wouldn't have to vote on it. We would just be our
Correct.
feedback.
Yeah,
Our feedback.
Normally, it would be something I could do out of my office based on
Okay,
input.
so you would just like our
I
input.
would like your
Okay.
input on
All right,
that, of
okay.
course, of course.
It's not just straightforward. Is there some reason why we would not want to go against it?
We don't have it agendized to talk it through right now, but I will provide you a summary of the information I have right now with my recommendation.
And you would like our assessment or our what
Correct,
we,
your feedback
by
to me.
Friday. By Friday.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, and we'll get it when?
You'll get that from me as soon as we can get that put together.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
coming
bringing this
tonight.
forward. All right, great, thank you. Okay, we will now go ahead and go to closed session. I do apologize for those we have not had a chance to go to closed session. We will go to closed session. It is item beforehand, 3.1, and the board, we will return shortly. Thank you for your patience.
All right, we're going to reconvene from our opening back up to closed session. We're now open session. I have some action items to read out. All right. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employee: Nerida Gutierrez, Assistant Director, Special Education, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined. And I'm going to read them all. Ernestine Hopwood, Director of Charter Schools, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined.
Board still has to vote.
We're going to vote in a second. Joshua Kim, Assistant Director, Special Education, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined. And Yasel Reyna, Coordinator, Special Education Coordinator, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined.
Move to approve all three positions.
All right, second. All in, all
four
four?
positions.
Because I read them all. Okay, so all four, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposes? All right, motion carried. Congratulations. Are you here? All right. We see Ernestine. We see you.
Congratulations,
Congratulations. All right.
Somebody else is here. Who else
Is
is
there
here?
is the other any of the others?
Okay.
No. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, moving to 5.0 public hearing. We will now open the public hearing. initial contract proposal for the San Bernardino School Police Officers Association through the San Bernardino City Unified School District. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? All right, be it resolved that the Board of Education receives the initial contract proposal from the San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. All right, we are now at 5.2. The initial contract proposal for the San Bernardino City Unified School District to the San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. Is there a motion?
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? Motion carried. Be it resolved that the Board of Education receives the initial contract proposal from the San Bernardino City Unified School District to the San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. 5.3, Memorandum of Understanding, Effects of Abolishments and/or Reductions between San Bernardino City Unified School District and the California School Employees Association.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Be it resolved that the Board of Education adopts the Memorandum of Understanding, Effects of Abolishments and/or Reductions between the California School Employees Association and the San Bernardino City Unified School District. And now, where am I? 5.9, we did 6. 7.0 now at Administrative Reports. College and Career Access Pathway Partnership Agreement. Dr. Marsden? All right, he's coming back. So move that he comes back. All right, we're at 7.1, the career path.
Thank you very much. And yeah, so board this is just a per education code. We'll turn this over to actually Dr. Mitchell. This is item 7.1, the College Career Access Pathway Partnership Agreement. And so as a result of Assembly Bill 288 per education code, before participating in community college district may enter into the agreement, the board needs to take this action publicly. So I don't know, Dr. Mitchell, if you had any
Yeah,
further
so
comments.
this action is just to approve proceeding. The next time you'll see it is for a public hearing, and then you'll be able to vote. And this just allows us to continue our relationship with our junior colleges and to create more dual enrollment.
All right. Is it?
Second.
There's
Yeah,
no, mo- we're
there's
not,
no vote,
just
just basically
information right
to
now.
share with the public.
All right,
Yeah.
and is that all? Is that it?
That's it.
We'll vote
Okay.
next time.
Moving on to 8.0, reports and comments. 8.1, reports by San Bernardino Teacher Association.
So I believe there are no reports tonight. I'm going
At
to look and
all?
see.
Okay.
And I don't believe we have any reports tonight from any of our association
All
leaders.
right, then we will move to 8.5, comments by board members, and we can start down with Dr. Wyatt. All right. Dr. Flores?
I just have a couple. I just wanted to congratulate Dr. Monitis. Where are you? Oh, she left. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. Almost. And Dr. Marsden. I was at CALSA, and she ran a panel on inclusivity, right, in terms of our workforce. And Dr. Marsden, Dr. Hanson from Riverside. I don't remember the woman from, was she at Oxnard? She was from Oxnard. Yes, I don't recall her name, but anyway, it was a great presentation, and I was really glad that we were represented there. And Richard Carranza, the Chancellor for New York, gave an inspirational speech, I thought, on equity, and just what he was going to be doing in terms of, he had 3 points. It was amazing. It was just so inspiring. He inspired me tremendously. And Dr. Pettis was there, and Sandra Rodriguez was there. So it was fun. You guys didn't expect me to be there, but I decided to go just for the day. I really loved it. It was really nice. Also, I wanted to invite the board to our California Latino School Boards Association Unity Conference in October 3rd through 6th in Del Mar and Hilton. And I would like to propose that we, Dr. Wiseman, send a team to, and also submit a proposal for Grow Your Own at CalSci. I went to dinner with some administrators, and I got a chance to tell them, Dr. Marston, they loved it.
Yeah,
They want to
absolutely.
know more about our program.
So it's not on the same dates as Haku. We thought it was, but it's on different dates then.
I think it's the same date
Oh,
as
is it the
Haku.
same?
It's the same date as
okay,
Haku.
so we may have a little bit of divided
Yeah,
staff.
you may be divided,
Okay,
but I would
got it.
like that. And also maybe Dr. Greer could present some of the things that we're doing with our African Americans in case, Dr. Mitchell, you're going to Haku. Haku? At Haku?
No.
Oh, so maybe you could, right, okay. Not CABE, it's CLSBA, California Latino School Boards Association. I would like us, you weren't able to do it last year, but especially our African task force, our African American task force and our Latino task force, I think it would be great to share with our school board members and so forth. And then I know you guys were on vacation or really busy, but I really, really would like to see our ethnic studies curriculum and reading lists. Just direct me to where it is. You don't have to, I know you're on vacation, so it's fine. But this is just a little reminder. And then I just want to thank all of you, Dr. Perez, Dr. Monares, Dr. Volkamer, for your board correspondences. It's great to see the drumline truck, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's first class, so I'm really thrilled. It took us a long time, but we got there. I think it took about 3 years, but at least we have it now. And also the athletic plan, and we see all the results of that board. It's tremendous. So I think as we invest more time and money and dedication, our kids are going to rise to the occasion. And also I'm very thankful that we kept applied learning in our embedded it. I was going to read it, but I couldn't find it right now, but it was really strategic. So I appreciate that very much. And Dr. Monitis, thank you for the update on the amount of EL special education students. That was really important. And I'm so happy, Dr. Perez, that we are incorporating, those 4 associates into our HEART program, because our kids are hurting. And just like that young woman that came in terms of domestic violence, I hope that we can also have her, pilot with our kids, because there is a lot of domestic violence that our kids experience, either to themselves or in their community or in their household, and they're just quiet about it. And I think they need to know that, we're there for them. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. Mike Gallo?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple comments. One, and maybe Dr. Marsden, you could update us at some point about our Board of Education building and things. I know that there's been extensive modifications required to that, and it might be just kind of neat to, hear what I'm sure it's going to be a fabulous facility and great for our community and all of that stuff. So that'd be kind of cool to hear about that.
Be my pleasure to do it.
And I think I've seen a bunch of facility projects going around the district, and one near and dear to my heart at San Andreas, they finally broke ground and are putting in the greenhouse that we approved like, I don't know, last year sometime, but that's actually starting construction. I'm sure by the end of the year or something we'll have a neat showcase there as an expansion of our Grow and Hope program. And then I wanted to ask Janie about our solar program. I don't know if you guys have seen the article in the LA Times like last weekend, and it was on rate hikes for our electricity that is signed into or going to be signed into law by our governor to pay for various fires and down from the earthquakes and everything, and rates are continuing to go up in there. So I know our investment in solar is probably going to come into play and be a really good investment for us with some of these power agreements we've been doing. And as you know, the end of this year, in that article it said, we were getting up to like 30% rebates. Then it's going to go down to 26% if you don't have the projects at least underway, and I mean approved, by the end of this year, December. You lose another 4% down to 26%, and then the following year it's down to 20%, and then 10% after that. So the kind of rebates and all of this stuff are going away, and I'm hoping, I don't know why we wouldn't just go on the heels of what we've been doing. We did 11 projects, and
I think it was 10.
I think
we
11.
Had
I
some,
think 11.
Is it okay?
Thought they were, but
so we have someone that we will have a proposal for you, a recommendation in August. We had someone that's independent of a solar company do an evaluation, and in fact they were reviewing everything with Mr. Aceto this afternoon. And so we are going to put everything together for the board in August.
so the evaluation is what, to select what schools, what next round, or
the
something?
recommendation for solar across the district.
I
And
see.
so it might not be at every school, but
Right.
they were meeting this afternoon, and they've
okay.
been working on this proposal for a couple months, and we'll have something for you next month.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes, and just to segue, I don't see how you could not do the solar projects. I didn't know we were doing it at Cajon, and I drove there. I just inherited another student in my household. I have my nephew from Los Angeles moved in with us, but when I went to Cajon, I mean, the covering is great, especially this time of the year, to have covered parking. I mean, you forget about the savings in electricity. It's almost something you would want to pay for. It's so nice, you know what I mean? So I don't know what this guy going to come back with in terms of a recommendation, but I mean, I just can't. It seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, even if it's break even, and I really feel like we can't predict what the costs are going to be, but if you're generating power, then you can take advantage of all the new technology like batteries and the power walls and that kind of stuff. So I just hope, and I didn't even know about the rebates. Did we get rebates for some of those projects?
I don't know if government agencies qualify for rebates. I don't think they do.
I didn't think so. We just
don't
make the money
qualify.
based on the cost savings, right?
Correct. So as we move forward, and I'll look at the article, Mike. So
yeah,
we
and I
have a
know-
purchase power agreement right now.
Yes, and that's what,
That
but
keeps
realize
our rate flat.
those people are the ones that actually benefit from these rebates, so they can offer a better
Lower rate
deal
to
for
us.
the,
Correct.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And our
So,
rates are extremely low.
yeah.
And so what we have with the current solar is a really good rate, and we will see those savings as we move forward when the rates do go up and we're able to keep that rate. So purchasing them outright, then you own the equipment, and then you're selling you're getting all the savings, but that's a huge capital investment. So
Right.
we're looking at these
But we
purchase
did
power
it,
agreements.
the 11 that we did, just, we did it on a power agreement. We paid nothing, right?
Correct.
We did not pay
Correct.
any
Correct.
advance, for that. You pay
And when you're
Yeah.
and I'm not the expert, but when you are
Not the
entering
cutting,
into agreement, if a site can't generate or an area cannot generate enough, then they will probably not recommend putting it there because they are doing a capital investment. Now, when we look at it as a whole, it may be worth it in some areas, and that's why we got an independent person to come out and do this evaluation for us. And I'll have it for you next month.
Thank you.
And just want to compliment also the football fields. I was out on the field because my nephew actually plays football, but even the fields are nice. And he commented, he's played on a lot of different artificial turf fields, and he talked about the quality of this field. And when he fell, he didn't get hurt, but the burn they get just from falling is amazing to me. But he took it. I couldn't take it. I'm a wimp, but
I want to thank
that stuff
Mr.
hurts.
Pace and his team for
Yeah.
doing the fields. They
Thank
look
you.
outstanding. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your comments. I just want to say that I did get a chance to go to San Bernardino High School last week for the parent volunteers. It was a great job to the family engagement team for what they were doing. Those parents were so excited and happy, about their recognitions. And what impressed me the most is that they we're getting awards also for referring other parents. So they brought other parents. So it's working. I know we're doing a lot, but that is definitely working. And I also want to applaud the ETSA team and Dr. Mitchell for what's about to happen on this coming Saturday. This is something that we've needed a long time, and bringing our African American parents together in a summit and to just kind of focus on the beginning of the year to ensure that we're on track. So I appreciate that. Dr. Marsden and team for just making it happen. I know there are some things we just are adamant about. There's some things we won't let go, but I appreciate it. And so I'm sure you'll share more, but 8.6. Comments by superintendent and staff.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. So yeah, I have it in my hand to share with the board as well. If Dr. Wyatt, if any of you are available to stop by, I do plan to stop by in the morning for sure to greet the families. And we have some great presenters. Both of them, as you know, have had a great message to our teams in the past. You saw the work if you came in early with the drumline band vehicle. I want to thank Dr. Volkmer for leading that charge and helping the vision that we've all had become a reality. So grateful for that. And echoing some comments made earlier, I want to compliment Dr. Moneras' leadership with CALSA. So thank you. And the invite is a pleasure to speak to the group of administrators there. As you know, it stands for California's Latino Association of Latino Superintendents and Administrators, and so grateful that they lead that work. And I know Dr. Perez, you play a role in that as well. Student recognition, we wanted to give congratulations to our 2019 graduates who will share in the write this down, you'll want to share this, $11.6 million in college and military scholarships. This year's total far surpasses previous year's scholarship totals. A big thank you goes out to the San Bernardino Community Scholarship Association and the Making Hope Happen Foundation for helping graduates pay for college. So $11.6 million, that's a big deal. And also congratulations to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School for earning the National Schools to Watch designation based on criteria to identify high-performing middle grade schools. Dr. Margaret Hill and Dr. Scott Wyatt were able to join me in recognizing not just Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School, but also the second year for Curtis and Serrano. Thank you to each of them, Mrs. Maria Hidegi, and for her leadership of Martin Luther King, and Dr. Greer and Ms. Cleveland for their leadership of Curtis and Serrano. And then also, board, I want to remind you that our 8th annual employee gathering for excellence will take place at the California Theater Monday, July 29th. So if you want to see hundreds of our staff coming back energized for the year, registration begins at 8. So if you want to plan to be there about 8:30, try to find yourself some good parking. I don't believe there will be reserved parking, but if you've not yet received your ticket, just contact Karen or Carla. They'll get you hooked up. And then last week, I took place on a tour with the Arrowhead Grove Project with Ginger Ontiveros, the E. Neil Roberts Principal Yosan Helamariam, and National Corps representatives in an effort to share information around Phase 3 of the project. And board, this is something you've been asking for. What are we going to do as we go forward with the Neil Roberts area, and how are we going to work with that community to take advantage of possible relationships with the Corps group? And so with that, we have Ms. Medina, Mr. Gallo, Dr. Wyatt, and an alternative, Ms. Rogers, on the facilities committee that will be bringing together with Corps representatives to talk about possibilities of next steps, and then ultimately bring to this board some conversation leading to direction from this board. And then just one or two more final points. Want to mention that the Education Bridge Committee that you've been asking for as a follow-up to Mayor Valdivia's comments during a previous board meeting and our joint interest in reviving the Education Bridge Committee, we plan to hold quarterly meetings, and our first relaunch of this meeting will be Thursday, September 12th from 12 to 2 p.m. So I'll say that again if you're interested in attending. Just want to affirm board that this meeting is set up. Right now we have the board members that previously have committed to this have been Mr. Gallo, Margaret Hill, Gwen Rogers. So I guess if you're still interested in being on that committee, we can maintain that. If there's others that are interested as an alternative, perhaps we could list you, let us know. This will be the Education Bridge Committee with the city. So you'll be meeting actually with Jim Mulvihill, Mr. Nichols, the mayor, myself will be included, and then we both agreed, Mayor and I, that it would be important to have key staff members based on what the topic is. We're going to start off on the topics of safety and quality of life. So that's coming soon. And then in closing, I wanted to share that our first day of school is Monday, August 5th. So just want to make sure everybody keeps that note in mind. And with that, looking forward to a fantastic year ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. 9.0 consent calendar. Is there a motion? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any items to pull?
We have to pull 9.22
9.22.
because it's for Kabe.
Kabe, okay.
9.56
9.56.
and 9.65.
Are there any others?
Yeah, let's see, 9.45, I think, and 46. I want to make sure it's the right numbers.
46.
Yep, 45 and 46. I need to abstain.
So we have 9.22, 9.56, 9.65, 9.45, and 6, right?
Yeah, so 9.22, 9.45, 9.46, 9.56, 9.65.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? All right. Motion carried. All right, let's start with
So on 9.22, I believe Dr.
9.2,
Flores is
is she
recusing
gone already?
herself
Okay.
because she is part of the leadership with California Association of Bilingual Education.
all right. 9.22, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is 9.45?
4.5 and 4.6.
4.6.
And Mr. Gallo can
I'm
explain
the-
why he's recusing
I'm
himself.
the founder and CEO, uncompensated, I might add. It's a nonprofit organization.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. So he'll recuse himself, and then you'll vote on
We gotta have
4.5 and
Dr.
4.6.
Flores come back in.
Okay,
What's that?
Dr. Flores, we need her back because we are down
have a
to a
quorum?
fragmented.
Bring Dr.
No.
Flores back. Thank you. And then you can vote on both of these together.
Okay. She took a long walk. Right.
Dr. Flores, you are our quorum.
We need you.
That's okay. No.
All right. Okay, so we'll now entertain a motion for 9.45 and 9.46. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. He can come back as well. All right, we'll move, 5.6? Sorry. 9.56? Is that where we are, Doctor?
Yes, so I believe Mr. Tillman's recusing himself because
You-
he's a member of the board of that organization.
No.
No?
Remember our board used to have somebody working there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
So we will switch places and bring
Yeah,
Mr.
Gallo
Gallo
will be back. He is back in the room, so you can continue with business.
All right. Okay. All right. All in favor? All right.
What was
Mo-
this one for? Oh, yeah, yeah.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
All in favor, yes?
Yep.
Motion carried, thank you. All right, the last one, 9.65. Do we have enough? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried, thank you. We are now.
So we can invite Mr. Tillman back, please.
10.0, yeah. 10.0, action item. 10.1, personnel report, number 1, dated July 16, 2019. Dr. Wiseman?
As presented.
So moved.
Are you sure?
Second.
Second, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Be it resolved, the personnel report, number 1, dated July 16, 2019, is approved as presented. 10.2, San Bernardino City Unified School District resolution for exemption of the separation from service requirement pursuant to section 24214.5 or 26812 of the Education Code.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Motion carried. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the exemption to the separation from service requirement for retired teacher Kathleen Lewicki. That was it. That was me reading the rest of that one. All right, 10, no problem. 10.3, Board Ongoing Initiatives Report. Is there-
I heard somebody move. Did we move in second and vote?
You had already voted. I
Yeah.
just was reading the
Okay,
rest.
sorry about that. 10.3, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposes? No. Motion carried. 10.4, Board Top 10. All in favor? Motion, thank you. Motion carried. 10.5,
So moved.
any discussion? I just want to make a comment here on 7, 8, and 10 is sort of like we talked about in the pathways. So I don't know, at one point in time, we're going to kind of bring back the discussion that we had earlier about what we're doing or what kind of like the next steps in the continuity of the pathways. But it has come up on several, am I on the right one? Yeah, it's come up several times. So I don't know when we want to merge that together and have it be a conversation, because something about a pathway is in each one, and I know that's under you.
I know Dr. Mitchell has a comment.
Yeah, we'll start off with a BC at the next board meeting and then go from there.
Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? Motion carried. 10.6, future agenda items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved in, is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. 11.0, summary. Oh, yes, there is thank you for that. There's an amendment,
Addendum.
10.7.
Addendum, yes.
Okay, so it says amendment to
Oh, yeah.
board review, board bylaws. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one?
Yes.
Yes, she gave this to me. Okay, 10.7 is an amendment to the board bylaws, 9250, remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Let's see. Each member of the Board of Education may receive a monthly compensation of no more than 779.78 effective July 1st, 2019, and no more than 795.37 effective July 1, 2020. Okay, now I think I'm back to 11.0. Dr. Volkema.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Board, your follow-ups from this evening's discussions are as follows. In terms of the discussion around combination classes, there's quite a few, and I'll list them all. Bring back data, both academic and behavioral, in relation to how students in combination classes are doing as compared to students that are in non-combination classes. Bring back, and you heard some of this already this evening, bring back the cost of the various personnel options. And we'll make sure you get that again for your reference. Bring back a history of why combinations exist and kind of where they come from and what causes us to need to do combinations in the first place. In relation to the data, include, and this will be part of I'm assuming the committee work, interviewing teachers, students, and parents, as well as bringing back the research related to combination classes, which we have some of from Hanover research already. Bring back information about what other districts have done to solve this issue in their districts. Have the possibility of a pilot, but make sure we involve the unions and other stakeholders in the development of that pilot. Agendize. There'd be two things around agenda. We're going to bring back a status report, the second board meeting of September, on the committee's work and the progress we've made. And then there was also a request to have Dr. Mitchell weigh in on the academic impact of combination classes as early as the next meeting or as soon as possible. Clarify the nature and structure of career pathways and make sure that we're communicating that well so that everybody, the community has a good understanding of what our intent is around career pathways K through 12. Continue to refine the applied curriculum in our career pathways so that we know that it's still about teaching and mastering the California content standards, but we should be approaching that through a career pathway mindset, knowledge of work mindset. Present the Grow Your Own program at the is it the Unity Conference, Dr. Flores? California Latino School Boards Association. Thank you. Yeah, CLSBA Unity Conference. Provide an update on the Board of Education building and the progress of the remodel, and bring back bring back a recommendation around solar projects in August. And I believe those are all of the follow-ups that I have this evening, unless I missed something.
You missed one, Harold.
Sorry.
You missed one, and it was related to what Mike and Danny, are you guys paying attention?
Yep.
He missed the point of we wanted to follow through and look at where we have success with our students in our elementary career pathways, to look to it. Is that correct, what you wanted? To extend it or to provide classes?
Continuity and stuff.
Yeah, provide continuity.
I think you characterized it a little bit differently under one of your items, right?
Yeah, I thought I did, but if I didn't capture it, let me know. 'Cause we want to make sure
that
we-
was the that's what the intent was, to provide some continuity where we're having great success, and to explore that. You guys were talking or were looking at your. Well, anyway, so I caught it. I caught it. Okay.
Yeah, and I thought
Okay,
I
all right.
thought you mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do remember that. Thank you, Dr. Flores.
Is that everything? Did you cover everything?
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, and I would like to adjourn in memory of Marv Billings. He was the first principal of San Andreas. For those that did know him, I think he made a stamp here for us. And our next school board meeting will be Tuesday, August the 6th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.